Hey, everyone! If you enjoy my quantum audiobooks, you can support me by becoming a Patreon member. Your support helps me keep creating, and you'll get exclusive perks. You can also access my audiobooks directly through Google Drive. Check out the link in the description. Now, let's get started.
I've decided to shut down Stark Industries' weapons division, effective immediately. The announcement from Tony Stark explodes across every news channel. Markets panic, stocks tremble. In front of a large screen, a man frowns. Qin, is this your moment? A massive figure sits back, cigar burning between his fingers. Wilson Fisk, the king of the underworld. Qin Xiao doesn't even look surprised. It's already begun. I told you Stark would vanish in Afghanistan. That was just the trigger. Tomorrow, Stark Industries stock will crash at least 40 points. As long as he has no replacement for weapons revenue, it will keep falling. He finally turns his gaze toward Fisk. This is the perfect time to buy. The shares I want, you'll secure them for me. Fisk nods slowly, smoke curling in the air. Before I agree, one question. Qin Xiao raises an eyebrow. Go on. I've heard something interesting. The one who saves Stark is the Punisher. And he was hired by you. Fisk's eyes narrow. You knew Stark would be captured and arranged his rescue. A pause. So tell me, were you behind his kidnapping? Qin Xiao chuckles softly. Your network is better than I expected. But no, that part isn't mine. I just knew what would happen. Who's really behind it, you'll find out soon enough. Fisk studies him for a moment, then nods. Good. In that case, we have a deal. My traders will acquire the shares for you. He leans forward slightly, and in return you deliver what you promised. Qin Xiao smiles, of course. This is a transaction. A ripple suddenly distorts the air around his abdomen. Then, he reaches into it. Fisk's pupils shrink. A strange, soft sound echoes and something emerges, a fruit, twisted shape, unnatural colors, almost alive. A devil fruit. Fisk mutters unconsciously. Qin Xiao's voice remains calm. That's right. Fisk's expression changes. These rumors in Hell's Kitchen. An Eastern devil invading Satan's domain. So it's true. You're the one spreading power through these things. He exhales slowly. I've seen enough of this world to believe in demons. Like the one they call the Ghost Riders. If that kind of power exists. His eyes lock onto the fruit, then I want it too. Qin Xiao doesn't react, this misunderstanding. He created it himself. Fear makes people easier to control. My identity doesn't matter, Qin Xiao says quietly. There's only one question. He places the fruit in front of Fisk. Will you eat it? Fisk stares at the fruit. Danger, power, unknown, but his answer is already decided. What does it give me? Qin Xiao's smile deepens. This one is called the bomb fruit. Bomb fruit. Jin Bin's eyes changed. Could it be that this fruit will explode? That's right, bomb fruit. As the name suggests, eating this fruit will give you a bomb-like ability. Every part of your body can explode. Your normal punch can also deal bomb-like damage. This is a huge amount of boost for a physical master like you. Qin Xiao briefly described the power of this fruit. Can every part of the body become a bomb? How powerful is it? As long as it is a substance in your body, you can give it the power of a bomb. Its power file size depends on your application of this fruit. The more you can develop the devil fruit, the more powerful you will be able to exert. I see. After Jin Bin finished speaking, he picked up the devil fruit on the table. You have to know this stuff is hard to eat. Qin Xiao kindly reminded her. I've eaten all kinds of nasty things. Jin didn't take it lightly. Catch tilde. Wu tilde tilde tilde. As soon as he bit it down, Jin Bing's face changed wildly. This stuff is really hard to eat. Although he said so, he didn't slow down the speed of devouring the devil fruit. High tilde tilde. Gold and devour a whole devil fruit. He let out a long breath. Just as he was eating the devil fruit, he felt a powerful force spreading through his body. Bang tilde tilde. He raised his hand and slapped the table in front of him. Boom tilde tilde tilde. The place where it was slapped really seemed to have placed a grenade. The whole table was directly blown to pieces. Is this the power of the devil? Jin Bin looked at his hands and felt the strength in his body. Qin Xiao watched the disease devour the bomb fruit. Ding! It is detected that the bomb fruit has been eaten by the match, and the host absorbs the fruit ability of the other party. When Jin Bing devoured the devil fruit, the sound of the system sounded in Qin Xiao's ear. He then turned his attention directly to the system. Devil fruit trading system. 1. Eat by yourself, develop fruit ability by yourself. The number is limited. 2. Eat by others, absorb other people's ability. There is no limit to the number. Eatable fruits and objects. 1. Swamp fruit, the Punisher Frank Custer. 2. Bomb fruit, Jinbin Wilson Faiths. Ability has been absorbed. 1. Swamp fruit, Punisher weapon proficiency. 2. Bomb fruit. Fruit ability increase, 0%. This system can be exchanged for devil fruits from One Piece world. The system gave him 2 options. The first type, like the one in One Piece, eats the devil fruit by himself. In this way, he can directly possess the power of that devil fruit. Even if one eats the dark fruit at the beginning, it is possible to achieve double fruit ability. The advantage of this is that Qin Xiao knows the development of the fruit. Awakening of the fruit is even known. He can develop the fruits he eats to a certain limit at the fastest speed. The disadvantage of this is to set a weakness for yourself. If you eat a devil fruit, you will be thrown away by the sea. The second is to let others eat the corresponding fruit. He absorbs the power of the fruit eaten by the opponent through the system. In this way, he can have countless fruit powers by himself. Even when he drains the power of the devil fruit, he can permanently possess a part of the opponent's ability. Like now, months ago the Punisher ate the bog fruit. Qin Xiao not only possessed the power of the swamp fruit, he also directly mastered the Punisher's weapon proficiency. If the Punisher has stronger control over the swamp fruit in the future, Qin Xiao can absorb more power from the Punisher through the devil fruit. Wait until the Punisher develops the swamp fruit to a certain extent. Qin Xiao can even master all the abilities of the Punisher. The Punisher serves as the anti-hero that Nick Fury calls a Tier 10 agent. He had received full Marine Corps training. The second way, while nice, has limitations. The first point is that there are not many people who can match devil fruit. In the world of Marvel, it doesn't seem like anyone in the world of pirates can eat a devil fruit. The people here need to be matched with the devil fruit to work. The second point is that the power of the fruit that Qin Xiao can use is the same as that of the eater. Like now, Kim blows up a table with one punch. The power that Qin Xiao can use is only this. However, the use of the fruit is not affected. For example, Qin Xiao can combine bomb fruit and swamp fruit, although the power of the explosion is not the same as gold. But Qin Xiao was able to beat Jin out of Xiong. After reading the system, Qin Xiao focused his attention on Jin Bing. The devil man in your mouth, I prefer to call it the fruit ability man. Next, I will let you know the true power of bomb fruit. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, his fingers lightly touched the table beside him. Boom tilde tilde, boom tilde tilde. There was an explosion. Jin Bin's eyelids twitched. He punched it down with the power of a bomb. With just one finger, Qin Xiao still exerted that powerful explosive power. The power of bomb fruit does not lie in your original fist strength. As long as your body touches, you can exert that explosive power. Your originally physical fitness has stood at the limit of human beings. There is no chance of advancement, but the bomb fruit has infinite possibilities. The explosive power contained in your fist now is less than a grenade. You think about it, when the explosive power contained in your fist reaches the power of C4, even reach the power of a missile. So with that power, how many other people can be your opponents? Qin Xiao is like a real demon, constantly stimulating Jin Bing's ambition. Can the power of the bomb fruit reach that level? Jin and heard Qin Xiao's description. There was a light in his eyes. This world is dangerous, so he had to use his smart brain to deal with his enemies. However, his longing for personal strength has never stopped. That's why he fights with a group of the world's top fighters every day. But those people could hardly last a minute in his hands. His personal strength can no longer be improved. The current bomb fruit gave him the possibility to become stronger again. Moreover, it seems that this powerful ceiling is also up to him. As I said before, the power of the bomb fruit depends on your own development. And not just your body, but even the air you exhale can empower an explosion. For example, like this. Ha tilde tilde tilde. Qin Xiao took a breath and then squirted it out towards Jin Bing. Boom tilde tilde tilde. The invisible air exploded directly beside Jin Bin like a grenade. His body, like a mountain of meat, suddenly tensed up when the air exploded. With a dodge, he jumped straight away. That level of flexibility seemed completely out of proportion to his body. He looked at Qin Xiao with a serious expression on his face. You shouldn't attack me suddenly, it will make me think badly. Qin Xiao said to himself. No, I'm just telling you how to use the bomb fruit. The air that is breathed is exchanged in the lungs and can also become a bomb. And haven't you found out yet, you are immune to explosion damage. When Jin Bing heard this, his pupils shrank. He then checked his condition. Under an explosion as powerful as a grenade, his own body was actually not hurt at all. This is also the ability of bomb fruit. This time he really felt the shock. That's right, from now on, normal explosions won't be able to hurt you, but no matter what you unleash the power of the explosion, or bear the force of the explosion, both require you to constantly develop the power of the fruit. The greater the power you can exert yourself, the greater the power of the explosion you can withstand. As for the upper limit of the bomb fruit, maybe you can produce the same power as a nuclear explosion. Qin Xiao mentioned a goal that made Jin Bing's face change wildly. The power of a nuclear explosion, if only he could use this fruit to that power. Who else is his opponent in the whole world? Nuke. With such power, everyone will surrender under his feet. Army, I can directly destroy them. He wouldn't even worry about the detonation of a nuclear bomb. At that time, he will not be the king of the underground world, but the king of the whole world, the one and only king. But then his heart trembled. Qin Xiao was able to produce such a fruit. It was obvious that the other party had the same strength as himself. The messenger of the Eastern Devil, his strength is truly unfathomable. Kim had been waiting for the idea of rebelling against the demons of the East. At the moment was gradually suppressed in his heart. Before confirming the upper limit of Qin Xiao's strength, he was not ready to take the initiative to resist. Qin, the demon messenger, I will seriously instruct my people to complete your goal. You will become a major shareholder of Stark Industries, perhaps second only to Tony Stark. Kim also expressed his thoughts directly. This time he was very serious about completing the transaction. Very good, as long as you understand. Next, you should develop your fruit ability well. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he got up and walked towards the door. In fact, he himself doesn't know what kind of power the bomb fruit can exert. After all, this guy Mr. 5 just ruined this fruit. In addition to exhaling air from one mouth, it is constantly buttoning boogers. Just a booger. This fruit can be developed a little bit, even if his physical skills are a little bit stronger. He can beat others to call him daddy. This fruit is the most suitable one among the several fruits that the system matched to Jin Bing. Qin Xiao gave Jin a little hint. Yi Jinbin's clever brain is sure to be able to play tricks. At that time, Qin Xiao will be able to obtain stronger feedback from Jin Bing. When he reached the gate, Qin Xiao looked back at Jin Bing deliberately. Remember, don't deceive the devil too much, otherwise he will take back your ability. After Qin Xiao said the last sentence, he left Jin Bing's room directly. When Jin Bing heard this, his eyes changed. Don't be too deceitful. It seems that the demons in the East are very spying on Satan's territory, and they can even endure ordinary deception. He understood the meaning of Qin Xiao's last sentence. After leaving Jin Bing's villa, Qin Xiao picked up a phone call. Frank, what's up with Tony? On the other side of the phone is Frank the Punisher. After Frank saved Tony, he didn't leave the Stark building immediately. And even if he wanted to, he couldn't, because Colonel Rhodes, who was in contact with Tony as the military, launched an investigation on Frank. After all, none of their military knew where Tony was captured. Why would Frank know? Fortunately, Frank is a retired Marine Corps soldier. There are not too many dark spots all the time. Even because his wife and daughter were killed, Colonel Rhodes originally felt a little sympathetic to him. So it's not hard for Frank. It's just asking the other party to stay in the Stark building temporarily. Don't leave until they're done investigating. In fact, Frank was tasked with protecting Tony for a short time. So let him stay in the Stark building, nothing better. Tony wants to see you and Colonel Rhodes wants to see you. I know, but I didn't expect them to be so anxious. Coincidentally, I also have something to look for him. Where are they now? In the Stark building. Fine, I'll be right overs. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Not long after, Qin Xiao came to Stark's office. At the moment, Tony was looking serious. Qin. Frank greeted Qin Xiao immediately when he saw Qin Xiao for the first time. It's you. Tony looked at Qin Xiao, his expression changed. He has seen the Oriental man in front of him before. Yes, it's me. I told you months ago to be careful. It's just that the proud and talented Tony Stark doesn't seem to bother with my reminder. Now, does it feel good to have a big hole in your chest? Qin Xiao turned pale when he saw Tony at the moment. Not only was there no consolation but a mockery. After getting the system, Qin Xiao has been looking for someone who can match the devil fruit. After looking for many ordinary people to no avail, he focused his attention on the protagonists of Marvel. Tony was the one he'd found a match for, so he took a chance to meet Tony, fooled Tony in a way that was almost a magic stick. But how could Tony believe Qin Xiao's words at that time? Qin Xiao himself didn't care at all. All he wanted was to leave some impressions in Tony's mind. Everything is foreshadowing the future. It feels bad to have a hole in my chest, and what's worse, I still can't believe it's really him. Tony looked at Qin Xiao with a dejected expression. Believe it or not, don't you already have a conclusion? You should have found something unusual in your company, right? Qin Xiao snapped back casually. Yes, I found transactions in some of the company's documents that I did not authorize. Behind these transactions, they all pointed directly to Obadiah in the end. He was my dad's best friend, and together they turned Stark Industries into the behemoth it is now. Our deal with the military has turned Stark Industries into an arms tycoon. Why does he still sell weapons to those people behind my back? There was a rare confusion in Tony's voice. You can think about these things slowly. You didn't come to me to talk about these things, did you? Qin Xiao didn't want to comfort the confused Tony at all. Tony shook his head, pushing the decadent thought out of his head, then looked serious. This time you hired Frank to save me, and I'm grateful to you. I want to ask Frank to be my exclusive bodyguard after your employment is over. As for you, if you need it, you can tell me as much as you want. When Tony opened his mouth, he wanted to poach Qin Xiao's corner. Apparently, he's taken a fancy to Frank's ability. As for Qin Xiao, he didn't know how to arrange it. If Qin Xiao a few months ago was a magic stick. The current Qin Xiao is full of mystery. After all, what he said at the beginning really came true. Unfortunately, I won't be your bodyguard, and I won't be anyone else's bodyguard except Qin. The Punisher Frank rejected Tony outright. Why? How much he gave you? I can double the payment. Tony started throwing money straight away. Money? He didn't give me money. What is that? Tony was taken aback. He gave me strength, the power to form an army alone. You can't give me this kind of power. Frank looked at Tony calmly. Power? You also said that you would give me power. Tony remembered what Qin Xiao said back then. Qin Xiao smiled, and there was a ripple in his body. Immediately afterwards, a brightly colored and strangely shaped fruit appeared in his hand. Yes, this is power. P.S. Guess what devil fruit for Tony? What's this? Tony looked at the strangely shaped and conspicuously colored thing with a puzzled look on his face. It's a devil fruit. Those who eat this fruit will become fruit ability users. The kind of ability I have is what comes with a devil fruit. Frank gave Tony a brief introduction directly as an experienced person. Aren't you born a mutant? Tony at the moment looked surprised. No, I'm a fruit ability user. Frank gave Tony an affirmative answer. Hearing Frank's words, Tony looked at the fruit in Qin Xiao's hand full of disbelief. Such a fruit can make your body turn into mud. You can take countless weapons out of your body, not even afraid of bullets and shells. Tony's tone was full of surprise. Frank's ability, he saw it with his own eyes. When he was still making steel armor, Frank rushed straight into that cave. After that, he saw something that shocked him extremely. Frank alone directly blocked the entrance of the cave and beat all the terrorists there. At that time, the bullets of the terrorists on the opposite side hit Frank's body. It was like being hit in a piece of mud. Those bullets can't hurt each other at all. Frank, on the other hand, pulls new weapons and ammo from his slushy body every time the fire stops. Even able to take rockets out of the body, with this immortality and unlimited firepower. Frank directly wiped out the entire terrorist base with one person. Tony and Ethan were saved by Frank. Even the mechs he made were useless. After that, Tony contacted Colonel Rhodes to pick him up. While waiting, Tony and Ethan saw even more incomprehensible situations. In a desert, Frank turned into a large piece of mud. The mud squirmed and directly swallowed all the weapons in the base. Tony's eyelids twitch at the thought of the weapon Frank now has inside him, with the weapons collected by Frank at that base. He was able to whip up an armed storm in New York. Tony originally thought that Frank was a born mutant, but the result obtained now directly broke his guess. Frank was actually created by the thing called devil fruit in front of him. Looking at the shocked Tony, the corners of Qin Xiao's mouth rose. Sure enough, Tony was also intrigued. Then the next step is to sell this fruit to Tony. Each fruit has a different ability. Frank is a super soldier who has received full training from the Marine Corps. He is also a weapon master. The fruit he matched was called the swamp fruit. The fruit can form a swamp. In this swamp, countless things can be devoured. Those are not the slime in your mouth. This swamp fruit solved Frank's long-standing weapon battery life problem. Qin Xiao explained Frank's fruit. Swamp fruit, the name of this fruit is worthy of its name. So what is the name of this devil fruit in your hand? Tony is now curious about the fruit in Qin Xiao's hand. This fruit is called Huenquin fruit. Yellow spring fruit. This name is not a good name at first glance. HMPH, isn't it a good name? This fruit can bring a dead man back to life. Even after his death, his body can be forcibly resurrected when his body becomes a skeleton. Do you still think its name is bad? Qin Xiao didn't say anything about the sequelae of the resurrection of the skeleton state. If you really become a skeleton, you can only survive in the state of a skeleton in the next life. Moreover, it seems that in the skeleton state, the second life seems to be able to achieve eternal life. After all, Brooke has survived for half a century after becoming a skeleton, and he doesn't look old at all. Even broken bones can be repaired by drinking milk. Resurrection. Resurrection. This time both Tony and Frank exclaimed at the same time. There was still doubt in Tony's voice, but Frank has no doubts about Qin Xiao. The fruit of Huanquan can bring people back to life. That's right, since it's a devil fruit, it's definitely related to hell demons. This fruit is to give the eater a chance to keep the soul from going to hell. As long as the soul returns to the body, it will naturally be able to live a new life. Qin Xiao started to fool Tony. I have to say that the name of this devil fruit is very bluffing. Moreover, this name directly misunderstood everyone, whether it's Kim Bin or Frank or Tony. They all subconsciously thought that they were the messengers of the Eastern Devil, walk in the Western world. Use devil fruit to occupy this side of the world. There is a deep fear in their hearts, because the name of the devil originally is full of horror. But there is no doubt about the power that this fruit can provide. The devil gives you benefits, but you must pay the price. Like abandoned by heaven, after all, eating a devil fruit is equivalent to concluding the fiend's covenant. This will make those devout believers reject this power. They don't want to die and not be able to go to heaven. Frank the Punisher, king of the underworld, and Kim don't care about that. What they do on earth is obviously going to hell. That's why they are willing to eat the devil fruit so simply. Qin Xiao didn't know if he could trick Tony into eating the fruit of the underworld this time. An opportunity for the soul not to go to hell. That is to say, the second time the soul must go to hell. Tony's tone was calm. P.S. Ask for flowers, for collection, for evaluation, for comments. The Marvel theme is not popular recently, so we need everyone's support. Qin Xiao could see Tony's calm expression clearly. That's right, you can't live forever, and your soul will eventually return to hell for the second time. Qin Xiao generously admitted this. In fact, devil fruits have nothing to do with hell demons at all. But Qin Xiao still associated the fruit with hell. Relying on the demon of hell will save him a lot of trouble, especially in the future when facing groups with huge volumes, such as mutant and shield. The fruit ability created by devil fruit is really similar to mutant. Without a reasonable source, it will bring countless crises, as shield to maintain world peace. It will even kill yourself, the culprit who continues to create instability factors. However, if he is the messenger of the Eastern Hell Devil, then they have to think about everything they do. Faith, Lord of Hell, created Ghost Rider. This lets some people in this world know the reality of demons. It also let them know how difficult the devil's advocate is. Hearing Qin Xiao's reply, Tony shook his head. Although I don't believe in God very much, I don't want to go to hell. The tone was full of regret. When Qin Xiao heard this, a ripple appeared on his hand again. The yellow spring fruit disappeared directly in his hand. Tony turned down the chance to live another life. Instead of being angry, he had a smile on his face. God, maybe in a few months you will know that God is not as mysterious as you imagined. God's God. Let's see how you deal with those legends after Thor comes in a few months. Tony's pupils shrank when he heard that. Qin Xiao's words extended directly to a few months later. This made it impossible for Tony to verify the truth of what Qin Xiao said in the first place. However, Qin Xiao said a few months ago that he would be betrayed and injured. This matter has been fulfilled. 3 months ago, I had an accident in Afghanistan. So after a few months, will there still be a God? And Tony, after a few months, maybe you will come to me to buy the fruit of the underworld. While Tony was still thinking wildly, Qin Xiao said something that made his heart skip a beat. I will ask you to buy the fruit of Huanquan. Did the devil in hell tell you something? Tony looked serious. There is no need for the devil to speak about this matter. The arc reactor in your chest uses palladium as its energy source. Palladium can poison your body. In other words, for you now, using arc reactor is like slow suicide. But if you don't use it, it is equivalent to direct suicide. Your life is not long. There is still half a year to go, depending on whether you can find something to replace the elements. If you can't find it, then the only thing that can save you is in my hands. When the time comes, whether to choose a god or a devil is just in your mind. Besides, you sold so many weapons, caused countless deaths. Do you still fantasize about being able to enter heaven? Qin Xiao taunted Tony again. Heaven? Can anyone here get into heaven? At least the current Tony doesn't have that qualification. He was completely using information asymmetry to fool Tony, since Tony Stark is destined to become Iron Man. Then palladium poisoning is an unavoidable crisis. Although Qin Xiao knew how to solve palladium element poisoning. But before that, wouldn't it be better to trick Tony into eating the fruit of the underworld? Once Tony eats the fruit of the underworld, he will be able to live again. Even if you die, you can be resurrected again. Qin Xiao probably understood why the system matched Tony with the fruit of Huanquan. The high probability is for the subsequent finger-snapping incident, but this point made Qin Xiao a little horrified. Could it be that in the judgment of the system, the snapping of fingers is bound to happen? Then for his own survival, he must let Tony eat this devil fruit. What if he disappeared in the snap of his fingers? This has to wait for their group of heroes to save them. Tony ate the fruit of hell. The system can absorb the power of this fruit. Qin Xiao himself is equivalent to having an extra life. The yellow spring fruit doesn't need to be developed at all before it works. When you die, the fruit power will naturally appear. On the contrary, after dying next time, after being in contact with Huang Quan, this fruit began to become endless. The chill of Huanquan, soul astral, those are the powers that will only appear after the death and resurrection. Tony couldn't believe it when he heard Qin Xiao's words, palladium poisoning. Will the arc reactor on my chest bring such consequences? He doesn't know a thing now, but after hearing Qin Xiao's words, he felt that this was almost a certainty. Arc reactor bound the metal fragments inside him. Palladium as an energy source will definitely have an impact on the body. Palladium poisoning, perhaps inevitable. Even Qin Xiao's last words hit his mind directly. He sold countless weapons and caused countless casualties. In my heart, I still fantasize about not going to hell. He actually rejected the devil fruit for this reason. It's ridiculous to think about it. I'll give you 100 million to keep this fruit for me. If someone bids more than me, you tell me directly, and I will increase the bid. Tony finally chose to retreat. He doesn't want to eat now, but I don't want to lose the chance of survival. So I asked Qin Xiao to help keep the myriad magic fruit, because he himself doesn't know whether the devil fruit needs a special way of preservation. 100 million? Unfortunately, you are so naive. If I now quietly leak the ability of the yellow spring fruit, how many people do you think will pay a high price to buy it? 100 million? Enough. 100 million enough. This question hit Tony directly in the bottom of his heart. A fruit that can bring people back to life. Once exposed, it will definitely attract all the rich and powerful. Billions, tens of billions are not even a problem. As for going to hell after death, how many clean ones can sit in their position? They are all ready to go to hell after death. They are going to hell anyway, why not choose to spend money to live a new life? Although Qin Xiao knows that it is very difficult for a devil fruit to match with a suitable host, it is even possible that no one can match this fruit except Tony. Except for Tony, it is useless for anyone else to eat this fruit, but Tony doesn't know, so he can fool Tony as much as he wants. 100 million just want to buy the chance to live a new life, think beautifully. Sure enough, hearing Qin Xiao's words, Tony became a little anxious. I will buy this fruit now. Tony was short of breath and asked to buy directly. Even if you don't eat it, you can buy it yourself as a spare. Buy. How much do you think your life is worth? Qin Xiao himself had no offer. Instead, it pushes the question back. Give you 1% of Stark Industries, that's billions of dollars. Tony seemed to make an offer very distressed. 1% of the shares. If it was in the past, it was indeed worth billions. But now you announce the closure of the arms department. How much do you think your Stark Industries stock price will drop tomorrow morning? Qin Xiao was in no rush. Jin Bing is already preparing to buy the shares of Stark Group. He doesn't like 1% of the stocks at all. Hearing Qin Xiao's words, Tony seemed to be really in a hurry. It's a buyer's market now. He can only be slaughtered, unless he really doesn't care about life and death. However, he managed to survive from the desert. How could he really not care about life and death? Originally, there was no rush, just because Qin Xiao said that it would be a few months later. Now I know the turmoil that the fruit of the underworld will bring. How could he not be in a hurry? Really give up this opportunity, this thing will definitely be snatched by others. Then maybe he really won't be able to survive. What price do I need to pay to get this devil fruit? Tony backed down again. More than 5% of the shares. Qin Xiao reported his request directly. In fact, the price of the bomb fruit he sold to Jin Bing was the same. Moreover, he also provided warm after-sales service for the other party. I personally showed Jin and some ways to use the bomb fruit. Only those who eat the fruit can actively develop the fruit ability. Only then can he borrow more power from the opponent. You seem to have earned it, but I earn more. And it's double. This is Qin Xiao's evaluation of this system. Tony's eyes changed when he heard the 5% stake. I agreed. He eventually agreed to the request. Very good. There was another ripple on Qin Xiao's hand. The Huanquan fruit that had just been put away appeared in his hand again. He handed the fruit to Tony. Since you have agreed to my request, then this fruit is yours. Tony took this fruit with a strange color and a strange appearance. I see. Next, I will arrange the transfer of shares. I won't keep you here for the time being. Tony got the fruit of Huanquin and directly issued an order to evict the guest. I'll leave right away. Frank will still protect you for now. When the stock transfer is done, you can ask Frank to notify me. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he walked directly to the gate. Frank personally opened the door and sent Qin Xiao to the underground garage. Qin, one devil fruit can be exchanged for 5% of Stark Group's shares. You gave me no money for the swamp fruit. I really don't know how to thank you right now. Frank was a little embarrassed. At the moment to feel the value of the devil fruit, easily break through 10 billion, and this kind of fruit worth tens of billions. At the beginning, Qin Xiao was so easily eaten by him. Frank, you have to understand that the value of a devil fruit is actually a matter of my words. Moreover, the value of each devil fruit is different. In fact, the role each fruit can play is its real value. If you really want to thank me, just make good use of the swamp fruits you have. By the way, let's make a name as a fruit ability user. Qin Xiao patted Frank on the shoulder. I see. I will work hard to develop the ability of the swamp fruit. Frank made up his mind straight away. Ding, it is detected that the fruit of the underworld has been eaten by the match, and the host absorbs the fruit ability of the other party. At this moment, Qin Xiao heard the system notification sound. The corners of his mouth raised slightly. Frank, protect Tony well and pay attention to Obadiah's affairs. I understand, but do you really need me to kill him? Frank's voice was full of murderous intent. At the base where Tony was being held, he was given numerous weapons. Right now, he just wants to have a good fight, and Obadiah, he can easily kill the opponent. They can do it when they threaten Tony and Pepper. In the Stark group, we still have to do things with reason. Qin Xiao smiled meaningfully. Frank obviously heard Qin Xiao's meaning. With justification and evidence, Obadiah can be killed. It seems that Obadiah still has to die. That's right, he's not dead, and it might be difficult for Tony to give me 5% of the shares. Although money is not the most important thing. But obviously there is a chance to get money. I will not give up. Qin Xiao has his plans. This time period is the best time to take over Stark Group shares. Wait until Tony completes the energy transition. The future of Stark Industries looks bright. Although Tony didn't say anything now, but in this turmoil he directly completed the concentration of power. If there is still a board of directors that can give Tony rest, then in the future the Stark Group is close to Tony's words. Qin Xiao wanted to complete his own arrangement at this time. After he finished speaking, he said goodbye to Frank. Get in the car directly and leave the Stark building. In the car, he turned on his system, Devil Fruit Trading System. 1. Eat by yourself, develop fruit ability by yourself. The number is limited. 2. Eat by others, absorb other people's ability. There is no limit to the number. Eatable fruits and objects. 1. Swamp fruit, the Punisher, Frank Custer. 2. Bomb fruit, Jinbin Wilson Faiths. 3. Fruit of the Underworld, Iron Man Tony, Stark. Ability has been absorbed. 1. Swamp fruit, Punisher weapon proficiency. 2. Bomb fruit. 3. Yellow spring fruit. Fruit ability increase, 0%. On the system, the names of Huanquin Fruit and Tony Stark were impressively displayed. It seems that Tony, who hasn't changed completely, can't escape the true fragrance theorem. As soon as the yellow spring fruit was given to him, he ate it. But it's best to eat it. Now I have the power of 3 fruits. In this dangerous Marvel world, I finally have some confidence to protect myself. Swamp fruit can make oneself immune to most physical damage. However, the development direction of this fruit is not yet clear. Its attack power seems a little insufficient. Frank's approach is not the best though. But in this world, it is the one that can show its power most quickly. There's nothing that powerful firepower can't handle. If there is, that is, the firepower is not strong enough. As long as the space in the swamp is constantly expanded, more and larger weapons can be stored. Firepower is justice. That's one of the reasons why I asked Frank to save Tony. In those bases, the most are weapons. The bomb fruit brings infinite possibilities to his future attacks. Jin Bing's mind is definitely better than Mr. Five's. At that time, the power of the bomb fruit will definitely become stronger and stronger. Then he will really become a human bomb. Most importantly, I can use it more flexibly. After turning into a swamp, throw a part of the body out of the swamp. It can become one powerful bomb after another. That's the real surprise. And Tony's Huanquin Fruit provided himself with another chance. It took him a year to travel to this world. Now I can finally stop being so nervous. For a long time, I was also worried that Ancient One would come to trouble me. But now it seems that she doesn't seem to care about my existence. But now, I'm going to take the initiative to meet you. The mysterious side of magic is exactly what I'm going to learn next. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he turned the steering wheel and drove directly towards number 177A Bleecker Street. He got to meet Ancient One in person, Stark Building. Not long after Qin Xiao left, a person came here. Obadiah. Tony, look at what you've done. It took me countless tongues to force down your decision. Tomorrow you will hold another press conference. Just say you're kidding. He looked at Tony helplessly. At the moment, he is like an elder watching the younger generation play a small temper. There is no way to see that he is actually playing tricks behind the whole thing. Tony glanced at Obadiah. This elder who clearly brought the Stark group to the present level with his father. Why do you want your own life? Obi, my decision will not change. Tony explicitly rejected Obadiah's proposal. Also, his attitude is very bad. He directly expressed his inner rejection in his attitude towards Obadiah. Obadiah watched Tony's look and his eyelids twitched. Does Tony know something? Tony, a playboy, can't compare with Obadiah, an old fox. Tony's mood changed slightly. Obadiah was alert and suspicious, but he himself didn't show anything. Well, Tony, since you don't want to make ammunition, then we have to make something. Obadiah made his compromise. I will personally control the future of the Stark group. Tony showed no signs of backing down from the matter. And no matter how Obadiah tried, Tony didn't tell him about the arc reactor. Obadiah left the Stark building with a look of resignation. But out of Tony's sight, his expression suddenly became gloomy. Looks like Tony really knows something. He concealed the matter of the arc reactor very deeply. However, Colonel Rhodes told me about it when he came back. Since you don't want to tell me, then I will pick it up myself. The Stark Corporation, it took me 30 years to get it into what it is today. I won't let you destroy it. Obadiah was cruel again. And Tony, at the moment, is also going back to his villa. A new armor model was taking shape in his mind. He wants to turn those ideas into reality. Although he signed a contract with the devil and got an extra life. But that didn't make Tony feel at ease. Protect yourself with armor. That's the only way to be safe. Otherwise, one extra life will soon be lost. Pepper, let's go back to the villa. Qin Xiao didn't know what happened on Tony's side. At the moment, he drove to the location of Holy Place in New York. After parking the car, Qin Xiao knocked on the door of Holy Place in New York. A black magician opened the door. Daniel. New Asgardian at Holy Place, New York after Caecilius left. Who are you? Daniel's face was full of doubts. They guard the Holy Place with a special enchantment. Originally, the door has been closed again. So under normal circumstances, except for the magician himself, it is impossible for anyone to knock on the door. Today, a stranger appeared. This put Daniel on guard. Hi Daniel, magician, I would like to meet the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One Magician. Qin Xiao went straight to the point. Where did you know about the Ancient One Magician? Daniel at the moment looked more and more dignified. If you want to meet the Ancient One Magician, you should not come to the Holy Place at all. To go is Camertage. Camertage trains the magician. After being approved, the existence of the 3 holy places will be notified. Now a stranger comes directly to the Holy Place. He knew exactly what it meant. Since Caecilius rebelled against Camertage with a group of magicians, the defense of several of their holy places has always been at a very high level. Because they are worried that these magicians will come back. The same magician, Caecilius, they are very familiar with the structure of the holy place. If the holy place is destroyed, the whole earth will be in danger. Maybe this person was sent by Caecilius to test him. In New York, whether it's the underground world or the mall, I have my own outlets. Although you are very low-key here, you haven't completely avoided contact with the outside world. Under my intention, I naturally knew this place. In fact, I also knew that to meet the Ancient One Magician, I should go to Camertage. Don't go there, it's more convenient to go from your side. Qin Xiao began to pull the tiger's skin to pull the banner again. This time, Daniel's expression became more serious. The other party's understanding of the magician's lineage seems to have exceeded his expectations. They even know that Camertage can be reached directly from here. This is definitely leaked by magician insiders. Are you from Caecilius? Daniel spat out a name. Then with a wave of his hands, Qin Xiao was directly pulled into the holy place. Cajatilda. Cajatilda. The environment around Qin Xiao changed again and again. Mirror dimension. Daniel actually directly pulled Qin Xiao into the mirror dimension. Not only that, Daniel also looked at Qin Xiao as if he was facing an enemy. The 2 magic shields in his hands have already taken shape. Qin Xiao looked at Daniel, who was on guard. He was startled. No sling ring, no spells, don't be locked in the mirror dimension by then. It seems that Caecilius has put a lot of pressure on you. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he rushed towards Daniel directly. Now Daniel must also be left in the mirror dimension. At that time I will slowly explain that I am not from Caecilius. Moreover, he really wants to fight the magician now. See how your own strength can face the opponent. Daniel looked at Qin Xiao who was running towards him. Waving the magic shield in his hand, the sharp edge of the magic shield slashed towards Qin Xiao. Qin Xiao was right, his hands turned to mud in an instant. Psst, tilde tilde. The sharp edge of the magic shield directly took away part of Qin Xiao's body. The affected mud directly lost control. Qin Xiao was startled. Magic can damage natural fruits. Magic can hurt natural fruits. This is the biggest gain from this fight between Qin Xiao and Daniel. Qin Xiao remembered Ancient One's explanation of magic. The magician draws magical energy from other dimensions of the multi-universe. Use these energies to cast spells and even conjure weapons. The power of magic comes from other cosmic energies, and the natural fruit is also the energy of nature. Blast energy with energy, so magic can actually hurt nature fruits. Fortunately, I came to try it myself. Otherwise, it might be a big loss. Qin Xiao's muttering to Daniel was not clear. Daniel, at the moment's expression, became more serious. The man in front of him was obviously injured with the magic shield just now. Even cut off a piece of body from the opponent. However, when he took a closer look, the other party was still intact, and the chipped thing on the ground looked like a puddle of mud. Although I know that the other party is not an ordinary person, but Qin Xiao's difficulty was beyond his imagination. Boom tilde tilde. Just when he was distracted, the place where Qin Xiao was standing suddenly exploded. Immediately afterwards, a figure rushed directly in front of Daniel. Qin Xiao's excited eyes appeared in his sight. At the same time, a huge amount of fists went straight to his magic shield. How could it be so fast? That was Daniel's only question at the time. Boom tilde tilde. Boom tilde tilde. Qin Xiao's fist made contact with Daniel's magic shield. Daniel's magic shield instantly shattered. A violent explosive force directly lifted Daniel into the air. He's flying through the mirror dimension like a rag doll. Sure enough, Mr. 5 wasted a good fruit. Seeing the result of this punch, Qin Xiao let out a sigh of disdain. At that moment just now, he fully utilized the power of the bomb fruit. He let his feet explode when he rushed to Daniel. The force of the explosion gave him an even stronger thrust. It makes him like a boring cannonball. At such a speed, Daniel Root was unable to react. Not to mention Daniel, even Qin Xiao's own eyesight can't keep up with his actions. But he did it anyway, because he himself will not be injured in the explosion. Even if he is injured, the swamp fruit can protect him from physical damage. With the speed of a cannonball, Qin Xiao came to Daniel's side in an instant. If Daniel is his enemy, then it's absolutely dead. Such a fast speed would hit Daniel on the head, absolutely bloody. But Qin Xiao didn't come here to kill people, so his fist didn't land on Daniel's head. Instead, it landed on the opponent's magic shield. When Qin Xiao's fist touched the magic shield, he activated the power to explode the fruit again. Its own impact plus the power of the explosion directly lifted Daniel into the air. Even in the end, Qin Xiao had to hold back a bit. Otherwise, the powerful explosive force will kill Daniel. The magicians of camouflage are the biggest crispy skin again. Bombs vibrating the air can also kill people. This is also where Qin Xiao keeps complaining about Mr. 5. But Mr. 5 uses his brain more. His strength will definitely not be like that. As long as Mr. 5 trains his physical skills a little bit, he can beat others to call him dad. If only he could develop the power of the fruit a little bit more. It is not impossible to even achieve the positions of the 3 generals and the 4 emperors. Consider the devastation Whitebeard's trembling fruit wrought. Bomb fruit can do it too. Burnt fruit and lava fruit have the power of high temperature. Bomb fruit can do the same when it explodes. Blob fruit can use the air as a medium to instantly bounce others or oneself away. Bomb fruit can also use this reaction force to speed up, just like what Qin Xiao did just now. Such a powerful fruit turned into rubbish by Mr. 5. It took a lot of effort for Daniel, who fell to the ground, to finally stand up. He also noticed that Qin Xiao had stopped just now. Are you a mutant? Did Charles send you to find the Ancient One magician? Daniel saw Qin Xiao's shot, put him directly under mutant, the guardian of the holy place in New York, where you will come into contact with many unconventional forces. Mutant is one of them. The other party was not from Caecilius, so he felt relieved. No, I really want to meet the Ancient One magician. I want to learn magic from her. Qin Xiao finally told Daniel his purpose. Learning magic. Yeah, it took too long to find camouflage. That's why I came to Holy Place, New York. But I didn't expect that you would think of me as Caecilius. Daniel heard Qin Xiao's words. His eyes changed for a while. It seems that you know a lot of things. Cajatilda. Cajatilda. At this moment, the entire mirror dimension gradually collapsed. Daniel, go and treat your injury. Another voice came from Daniel's mirror dimension. Qin Xiao turned around and saw a cool bald head, a gray robe, obviously not the yellow combat uniform. Ancient One Magician. Ancient One Magician. Daniel and Qin Xiao saluted Ancient one after another. Not to mention the strength of Ancient One. Just relying on its protection of the safety of the earth for hundreds of years is worthy of Qin Xiao's salute. Daniel, I will personally receive the guests, and you go to heal your body. Ancient One sent Daniel to heal again. Yes, Ancient One Magician. Daniel left directly. After Daniel left, Ancient One walked up to Qin Xiao. She looked at Qin Xiao with curiosity in her eyes. And as Ancient One approached, Qin Xiao's eyes became extraordinarily strange. Ding, a devil fruit match has been detected. Matchable fruits, age fruit, regression fruit, washing fruit. Qin Xiao was lost in thought as he watched the results displayed by the system. Age fruit. Does the system despise Ancient One's age? The system ranks the fruit of age first. Do you think this fruit is more suitable for Ancient One? In fact, the degree of mystery of this fruit may rank first among supernovae. No one even knows Joel Boney's real age. Qin Xiao sometimes wonders whether this fruit of age can also live forever. Fruit ability users can transform themselves or others into various ages after activating the ability. When you become an old man, you become old and feeble, thin and tiny as a child. Explain that this ability directly changes the state of the target. So if the eater stays young, can he live forever? The age fruit is given to Ancient One. Is it interesting? And the retrograde fruit can be retrogressed with 12 years as a reincarnation. This fruit gave Ancient One Qin Xiao a moment to wonder what it would do. Wash the fruits. This is in line with Ancient One's character. No matter who it is, she can meet it. Proud Strange, paralyzed Pangborn, Hamel without his left hand, these people can all be treated equally by Ancient One. If she has this fruit, she can constantly cleanse the hostility of those magicians. There will definitely be fewer traitors like Caecilius. Qin Xiao began to think about whether it was possible to trick Ancient One into eating a certain fruit. A demon messenger from the east. I still don't feel the devil's breath on you. Why did you choose such a name for yourself? Qin Xiao's expression changed as soon as Ancient One opened his mouth. You really know, Mace. The demons of the east want to invade the territory of the demons of the west. So a messenger was sent to walk the western world. I've been paying attention to the situation here in New York since the rumors started circulating here. I personally saw you let Frank eat that brightly colored fruit in the mirror dimension. After that, Frank really possessed super ability like mutant. I know you named that fruit a devil fruit. Rumors were also heard of an eastern demon invading the western realm, but I didn't feel any devil's breath on your body. I'm curious, where exactly is your source of strength? I wanted to find a chance to meet you. I didn't expect that you would take the initiative to find it this time. As soon as Ancient One opened his mouth, he said a piece of news that made Qin Xiao's heart tremble. The other party has been observing him in the mirror dimension. Even saw his fat Frank eating the bog fruit. Fortunately, I have been more cautious. Packaged himself with the lie of the devil messenger. Otherwise, I might not have any privacy in front of Ancient One. You've been watching me. Why didn't you stop what I did? Qin Xiao is very curious now why Ancient One only observes himself but does not stop himself. You know, the ones I have been in contact with lately are not good ones. Frank the Punisher, an anti-hero who fights violence with violence. His hands were stained with blood. Jin Bing is the king of New York's underground world. When Qin Xiao came into contact with them, he was obviously not a good person. Ancient One saw it. Why didn't it stop it? That's right, I have been observing this world and you just happen to be one of the episodes. As for why I didn't stop you, because I didn't find the reason to stop you. This world is developing according to its inherent laws. What you're doing isn't causing a crisis. It is even beneficial to the development of this world to some extent. The Sorcerer Supreme lineage guards this world from other dark latitudes. What you call the fruit ability has not brought crisis to this world. Instead, it brought new life to the world. So I'm thinking that your powers may also come from some righteous extraterrestrial Mephisto. Just like our magicians, white magic comes from Visandi. Perhaps your appearance is also to prevent a crisis in a certain aspect. So I'm not stopping you from doing things. As soon as Ancient One opened his mouth, he said a reason that made Qin Xiao stunned. Emperor Weishan, other extraterrestrial Mephisto. The lineage of Sorcerer Supreme protects the magic latitude from invasion. The appearance of Qin Xiao was regarded as another force to provide protection. Aren't you worried that I'm actually the vanguard sent by Mephisto from other latitudes to invade this world? It's as if Mephistos from other dark latitudes are constantly looking for believers in this world. Qin Xiao asked this question again. The source of his own power may be Asgardian like Visandi. It could also be Dark Mephisto. Why isn't Ancient One worried? There are all kinds of possibilities in the future, but there is no invasion of the power behind you. So the power behind you is obviously just providing a new power to the world. Well, the power behind me didn't invade. Qin Xiao finally understood why Ancient One was not worried. Ancient One has certainly seen the future with the time gem. But in the future, I can't see the power behind me eroding this world. That's why she thinks her power is not the power of erosion, it is the power of protection. As for why there is no invasion. Because behind him is the system, not other extraterritorial Mephisto. No, at least I didn't see it. Ancient One knew almost everything about Qin Xiao. All of this comes from her strength. It's like when Strange went to Camertage, she was able to make the other party experience the feeling of soul astral. It even made him experience the horror of traveling through a multi-universe. After that, she decisively drove Strange away. All of this comes from her strength. I tell you the truth of the world, what can you do? Now she told Qin Xiao these things are also based on this point. Even she said these words with a sense of warning. There is a mysterious force behind you, but you are under my surveillance. If you act recklessly, you may be attacked by me. This is what Qin Xiao understood from Ancient One's words. Then, Ancient One Magician, I want to learn magic with you. I don't know if it is possible. Qin Xiao finally made this request to Ancient One in person. Learning magic, you already possess a magical power. This kind of power has obviously given you great strength. Don't you think you should make good use of your powers? Why do you still want to learn magic from me? This time, Ancient One was really surprised by Qin Xiao's purpose. My powers are actually more like mutants, but you know how mutant is treated in this world, so I want to learn the magic of camouflage. I want to use this to hide my identity. Qin Xiao directly stated his purpose. After Ancient One heard this, Wei Wei thought for a while. I refuse, you need to know more about your own strength. If you choose to escape yourself instead of fighting for your fruit ability, then it is impossible for you to develop at all. Ancient One directly rejected Qin Xiao. Well, let's make a deal. I offer you a few fruit abilities. In exchange, you teach me a few magic tricks. Qin Xiao seemed to have known that Ancient One would refuse, so understanding is another way of saying it. Trade. Ancient One frowned. She is indeed full of curiosity about Qin Xiao's fruit ability. Over her centuries, she has seen various abilities. Mutant abilities, a ghost rider who trades with demons, the god from God's domain. Qin Xiao's fruit ability is not special, but the opponent's strength still has something to study. How does a fruit give people such power? Ancient One has always had doubts in his mind. And she'd love to experience the power of another Mephisto for herself. She's Sorcerer Supreme. In order to protect the world, she does not hesitate to communicate with Dormammu to achieve greatness. So her mind is very open. Now Qin Xiao offered to trade the fruit ability for magic. It really hit her soft spot. Okay, I agree. What kind of fruit power can you provide? Ancient One finally chose to agree. Qin Xiao at the moment finally smiled. Ancient One Magician, there is one thing I want to explain in advance. The fruit ability needs to match. Well, match? Yes, not everyone can eat devil fruit. It's as if not everyone can learn magic. Here, I only found that you can match devil fruit for the time being. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, the three ripples on his hands continued to fluctuate. In the blink of an eye, three fruits with strange colors and even more strange shapes appeared in his hands. There are three fruits that match you. This one is the fruit of age, this one is the fruit of regression, and this one is the fruit of washing. You can choose one of them to eat, and these fruits only you can eat them, so which one do you choose? Ancient One looked at the three fruits in Qin Xiao's hand. Look calm. Shouldn't you introduce these three fruits first? As a Sorcerer Supreme who has lived for hundreds of years, she has her discretion. The fruit of age can change your age at will. It can even change the age of the people you come into contact with. Become a child or an old man as you like. The fruit of regression can take 12 years as a cycle to change people or things into what they were 12 years ago. If something has existed for less than 12 years, it will even be erased directly. As for the washing fruit, it can turn people or things into clean clothes. When cleaning, some evil can also be washed away. Ancient One heard Qin Xiao's introduction. There was obvious consternation in her eyes. Age fruit, which is rewarded with longevity or youth. Regression fruit, this is a chance to give it another chance. And washing the fruit is obviously to wash away the sins of the wicked. I believe more and more that behind you is the righteous outer dimension Mephisto. Ancient One's explanation directly confirmed Qin Xiao's identity. Qin Xiao. At the moment, Qin Xiao looked confused. How can the three fruits provided by the system be explained in this way? But according to her analysis, Qin Xiao felt that what she said made sense. Even now he himself doubts whether the system is really arranged like this. Originally, Qin Xiao was wondering why the system arranged such three fruits for Ancient One. It now appears that the system has grasped the personality of the match. It even seems to be able to predict the future. Swamp fruit for the Punisher, unleashing his weapon master ability. The bomb fruit given to Jin Bin can match Jin Bin's super strong body. The fruit of the underworld given to Tony can bring him back to life. After all, Tony's current body could really die at any time. Now the three fruits matched to Ancient One are reinterpreted by Ancient One. Could it be that there are more unknown sides to the system? Qin Xiao was puzzled, head full of question marks. Ancient One doesn't care about Qin Xiao's thoughts. She now recognizes Qin Xiao's identity more and more. It can't be demons that can wash away evil deeds, right? Qin Xiao shook his head and finally came to his senses. Ancient One magician, which fruit do you choose? Of the three fruits, Ancient One was able to take away only one in the end. At that time, the other two will return to the system. No match can be found and will not appear. At the moment, Qin Xiao was also curious about what kind of fruit Ancient One would choose. In his imagination, Ancient One should choose to wash the fruit. This is in line with the temperament of Ancient One. In Camertage, the cleansing fruit is used to cleanse the evil in others, able to unite Camertage's magician more. Ancient One's gaze flicked across the three fruits. At last he reached out and picked up a fruit. This fruit is not bad. After she finished speaking, she began to examine the fruit carefully. With the release of Ancient One, the other two fruits disappeared directly. Qin Xiao's expression at the moment was particularly exciting. Fruit of age, Ancient One finally chose the fruit of age. Sure enough, women care about age, even if she is already an old monster. Qin Xiao complained in his heart. It seems to have felt Qin Xiao's thoughts. Ancient One looked at Qin Xiao with serious eyes. Cough tilde tilde Ancient One magician, do you want to eat this fruit now or later? Qin Xiao quickly put that thought aside. I will study this fruit first. I want to know from what dimension you got the power of this fruit. Ancient One didn't hide. What she has to do now is definitely to study this fruit. As a sorcerer supreme, she won't eat it casually like Frank and the others. She would consider eating it only when the final research failed to produce results. Okay, I get it. So next, is it possible for me to learn magic? Qin Xiao finally changed the subject back. What magic do you want to learn? Ancient One put away the devil fruit and asked. For the time being, what I want to learn most is the portal and the mirror dimension. Qin Xiao said what he wanted to do most. Learning the portal can allow him to quickly reach various places in the world. And the dimensional space allows him to let go of his hands and feet and exercise his fruit ability. Ancient One nodded, seeming to understand Qin Xiao's thoughts. You originally possess great power, so your practice can only be carried out in the mirror dimension. Leaving the mirror dimension requires the cooperation of the portal. These two magics are indeed the most suitable for you. After Ancient One finished speaking, he took Qin Xiao through the portal of New York Holy Place. Eventually, the two of them made it to Camertage's training ground. Ancient One handed Qin Xiao a sling ring. After that, she directly opened the mirror dimension. The two entered the mirror dimension, and Ancient One began to explain the characteristics of these two magics to Qin Xiao. Qin Xiao listened carefully to her explanation. The days of practice seemed very tight, and Qin Xiao finally learned his first spell, crack tilde tilde. Crack tilde tilde. As soon as it arrived, it seemed like a broken glass wall appeared in front of Qin Xiao's eyes. Mirror dimension, this is the first spell he has learned. Looking at the dimension of the scene in front of him, Qin Xiao clenched his fists. Next, complete the practice of the portal, and his mission to Camertage is completed. Look at the mirror dimension you opened up. Ancient One looked at the mirror dimension channel opened by Qin Xiao and said, Qin Xiao's ability in magic doesn't seem to be very powerful. He has studied this magic for a long time. Therefore, she wanted to see how the magic performed by Qin Xiao, who had the support of Dimension Mephisto behind him, was going to be. Okay, I want to see it too. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he walked in directly from the opening of the mirror dimension. Ancient One also followed closely. If she doesn't come in, Qin Xiao will be locked in his own mirror dimension. Looking around for a week, the whole inside doesn't look different. Outside is the training ground environment of Camertage. The whole inside looks a bit unstable. Then she saw Qin Xiao's mouth opened wide with astonishment on his face. Qin, what's going on? Qin Xiao swallowed hard when he heard Ancient One's words. Is there a standard for the file size of the mirror dimension? When I first learned the mirror dimension, the file size of a room is generally used as the standard. After that, it gradually expanded to a building and even expanded to a block. Ancient One explained a sentence. Then, the mirror dimension I opened this time seems a little abnormal. Qin Xiao subconsciously walked out of the training ground in the mirror dimension. Ancient One followed closely behind him. The two pushed open the door of the training ground. The situation in front of him made Ancient One's calm heart tremble. The streets of Camertage are crowded with people, but no one could see Ancient One and Qin Xiao. In the extreme distance of the line of sight, it is like a glass mirrored dimensional wall that is constantly flowing. In the sky, sunlight penetrates the broken space and shines on the two of them. The sense of fragmentation that belongs exclusively to the mirror dimension enveloped the entire Camertage. How did this happen, the first time it enveloped the entire Camertage? The calm Ancient One at the moment finally lost his composure. Qin Xiao didn't speak. He waved his hands and the entire mirror dimension kept changing. Ancient One and his body are constantly changing positions in the mirror dimension. Wave after wave of enlightenment came directly to his heart. Sure enough, it's all about my body. Qin Xiao finally stood at the highest point of Camertage and muttered to himself. It has something to do with your body. Is it the dimension Mephisto that provides you with magic power? Ancient One also seemed to understand what Qin Xiao said. Magic is to absorb energy from other dimensions. White magic normally absorbs the power of Emperor Weishan. With this power alone, the Ancient One stands as the Sorcerer Supreme. However, she not only absorbed the power of Emperor Weishan, she also absorbed the magic of Dormammu, the Lord of the Dark Dimension. This made her strength even more terrifying. Longevity is just one of the benefits of Dormammu. Even better, her magical powers are endless. She is even able to directly affect the real world with her magical powers. When Qin steals Dormammu's summoning ritual, Ancient One directly manipulated the real world and killed many traitors. After Qin gained the power of Dormammu, he also gained the power to directly affect the real world. It even directly broke through the holy place in New York and killed Daniel. Even with the magical support of Dormammu, Qin can directly control the mirror dimension that covers the entire New York. Chase Doctor Strange and Mordo up and down inside. In the end, it was Ancient One who forcibly took over control of the mirror dimension. And at that time, the mark of Dormammu appeared on the forehead of Ancient One. Mephistos from extra dimensions can provide magical support to magicians. This is something Ancient One has known all along. The first time Qin Xiao opened the mirror dimension, it enveloped the entire Camertage. Behind this is definitely the magic power provided by Qin Xiao's Mephisto. Ancient One's guess makes sense, but it is different from the real situation, because there is no extra dimension Mephisto behind Qin Xiao, but he himself was originally a time traveler. His body carried the energy of another universe. His body is like a channel linking two universes. In other words, it is the entire universe that provides magical support for Qin Xiao. Magic requires other multi-universe energy support. For Mr. Qin Xiao, it was a breeze. In other words, although Qin Xiao's ability to learn magic is not powerful, a mirror dimension took a lot of time. However, he has a natural magical physique. It's like a computer. Software learns some abilities to comprehend magic will not work, but the hardware body is top of the line. Ancient One Magician, maybe I should learn more magic from you. Ancient One Magician, maybe I should learn more magic from you. Qin Xiao at the moment seemed to have found his goal. My body cooperates with magic, which is simply a godsend. If you originally only wanted the portal and the mirror dimension to match his fruit power. So now he wants to learn more magic. The shape of Akin, shield of Seraphim. Hogarth's ancient body, thunder of Bosset, magic whip, wind of Vadam, Cytorak's crimson chains. These spells one after another may be just small spells in the hands of other magicians. But in his hands, what will it develop into in the end? Doctor Strange is known as Dr. Kidney Deficiency. It is because he always lacks mana after using magic, but Qin Xiao didn't care about the consumption of mana at all. He has endless magical support. The only thing that can constrain him is the speed at which he learns magic. He doesn't have the memory of Doctor Strange. There will not be the same learning speed as the other party. Maybe Qin Xiao can only learn one magic when others learn several spells. But the power of every spell he learns will be astonishing. Your magic is gone, then my magic will go bad. Ancient One heard that Qin Xiao wanted to learn more magic. She lost herself in thought. I need to think about this matter. Ancient One did not immediately agree with Qin Xiao's idea. Because she didn't know if Qin Xiao was really asked to learn more magic, would it have any impact on the future? Ancient One's rejection made Qin Xiao's heart sink. Could she refuse? But then he thought of something. Instead of learning it by yourself, it's better to trick Ancient One into eating the devil fruit. As long as Ancient One eats the devil fruit, as her fruit ability develops, more power will be directly fed back to Qin Xiao. In this way, Qin Xiao can definitely save a lot of practice time. And with the mind of an Ancient One magician, it shouldn't be difficult to develop the power of a devil fruit. Qin Xiao did it when he thought of it. Well, it's okay if it's inconvenient. But I'm curious, my dimension god has provided me with this infinite magic power. What happens if you eat the fruit of age as a sorcerer supreme? At that time, will you be able to generate more powerful power with the cooperation of magic? Just like my body is augmented by magic. He directly started fooling the Ancient One magician. Using himself as an example, he showed Ancient One a stronger future. An apprentice who never learned magic, demonstrated great power when learning the first spell. So, what would happen if Sorcerer Supreme ate a devil fruit? Qin Xiao's voice fell and Ancient One's heart trembled. She began to calculate the pros and cons of this matter. During this time, Qin Xiao was constantly practicing magic. Ancient One has also been constantly researching devil fruits. But from the appearance, nothing special was found from the cut part of the flesh. She wants to continue researching the power of another Mephisto. It seems that the only way to experience it is to eat a devil fruit. Tomorrow, I will give you an answer. After Ancient One finished speaking, he directly opened a portal. Qin Xiao quickly followed the other party and left the mirror dimension. Ancient One returned to her abode. It's quaint and simple here. In a special box, there is the fruit provided by Qin Xiao. It has to be said that this fruit has a long shelf life. It hasn't been damaged in the slightest even after being left for so long. She checked the future many times. In it, there are things after she ate the fruit. In the future, the countless futures she watched before eating the fruit will end abruptly at a certain scene. She knew that that time was the end of her death. After that, the future no longer belonged to her. But if she eats the fruit, her future will become a fog. She can no longer see her future, hazy. But there seem to be countless possibilities. The future that cannot be seen is the reason why she cannot make up her mind to eat the fruit. But today Qin Xiao showed Ancient One another future. As a fruit ability user, the other party actually has such a powerful effect when learning magic. And she herself has already stood at the pinnacle of magic in this world. If you can't break through, you will eventually pass away. She has lived for hundreds of years for this world. Now in the end, it's safe to wait until the next generation of the Sorcerer Supreme takes over. Or choose to eat this devil fruit to feel the elegance of one side belonging to another world. Ancient One meditated quietly and thought. Qin Xiao, who returned to his residence, has been waiting for Ancient One's reply. Even because of this, he lost sleep. Ding, it is detected that the fruit of age has been eaten by the match, and the host will absorb the fruit ability of the other party. A systematic voice sounded in the ear of the drowsy Qin Xiao. Qin Xiao's whole body became energetic in an instant. Ancient One ate a devil fruit. He quickly checked his system, devil fruit trading system. 1. Eat by yourself, develop fruit ability by yourself. The number is limited. 2. Eat by others, absorb other people's ability. There is no limit to the number. Eatable fruits and objects. 1. Swamp fruit, the Punisher Frank Custer. 2. Bomb fruit, Jinbin Wilson Faiths. 3. Fruit of the underworld, Iron Man Tony. Zdark. 4. Age fruit, Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. Ability has been absorbed. 1. Swamp fruit, Punisher weapon proficiency. 2. Bomb fruit. 3. Yellow spring fruit. 4. Age fruit, mirror dimension portal. Fruit ability increase. 0%. Sure enough, there is an additional Ancient One on the eaten object, and he himself absorbed the power of this fruit. Not only that, Ancient One actually fed back a magic to Qin Xiao just after eating the fruit. Portal, this represents that the cooperation and development between Ancient One and fruit have reached a certain level. You know, this is the first time this has happened. Gold and eat the explosive fruit. Tony ate the fruit of hell. Neither of them gave Qin Xiao any ability feedback. And Frank, although he fed back a weapon proficiency. But that was Frank's feedback after spending a long time developing the ability of the swamp fruit. When it is eaten, it will feed back the power of the host. Ancient One is the first man. To some extent, it can also prove the terror of the other party. Qin Xiao was pleasantly surprised at the benefits brought by Ancient One. On the other side, a rare gaffe appeared on Ancient One's calm face. In front of the mirror, her whole body, which had already shown a little fatigue, was constantly changing. Old, young, middle-aged. My own appearance in the mirror is constantly changing. She lived for hundreds of years. Every time I look in the mirror, I can't see the change in myself, even Time Gem. She's also not entirely sure when the next Sorcerer Supreme will arrive. It is even more uncertain when the next crisis will come. Therefore, she doesn't even dare to grow old. At all times, she needs to maintain her strongest strength. And that's just the hundreds of years she's lived in the real world. In the future glimpsed by the Time Gem, she has existed for countless years. Her flesh is kept alive by Dormammu's dark magic, but her soul has wandered in endless time. This brought him a lot of benefits. For example, you can learn more magic over time. You can experience battles that you cannot experience in the real world. However, this also brought a strong psychological burden to her. For such a long time, she didn't know how many times she almost fell into darkness. Again and again she struggled and got up again. All this is for this world. If she had a choice, why would she insist on it? If she had a choice, why should she shoulder such a heavy burden? In the countless futures she saw that came to an abrupt end, and why didn't she give up her life by herself? If living is not so tiring, she might still want to live. These long years even made her forget how she used to look like with black hair and disheveled hair. Now the mirror shows her from childhood to old age. Ancient One gently stroked his face. This is a little confused and no one can see it on her body. When she was young, she was tiny and powerless. She is young with a childish look. She is young and heroic. Mature, she still has charm. She is middle-aged, mature and stable. In her old age, she has experienced incomparable vicissitudes. One state after another made her realize again, this is truly alive. Live with your own body. The self at the moment is not the Sorcerer Supreme. Not to mention life experienced in the future created by Time Gem, Ancient One finally nailed his own look. She looked a little younger than her usual appearance, just that. A little bit, heart of beauty in everyone. At the moment, Ancient One finally has a little bit of a woman's appearance. That is the vitality of the world. Qin Xiao, the demon messenger, the fruit of age is really mysterious. Only by experiencing it yourself can you know the ability of these fruits. What this fruit provided me was not powerful power. However, it gave me a feeling other than strength. After hundreds of years, the longing for life is felt again. Who the hell is Mephisto, the dimension behind you? Why is he able to provide such a powerful force? So personal strength, how is he matched? Ancient One pushed open the door. She was going to meet Qin Xiao in person. Crack tilde tilde. With a wave of his hand, the space in front of Ancient One's eyes was shattered. She routinely opened the mirror dimension, wanting to see what Qin Xiao is doing now. But when she used magic while waving her hand, a shocking feeling spread throughout her body. Magic drawn from the dark dimension of Dormammu, all directly injected into this mirror dimension, just like. Her body no longer needs the magic power of the dark dimension to maintain it. This feeling shocked Ancient One extremely. How so? She steps into the mirror dimension. She originally wanted to see Qin Xiao, but at the moment sat cross-legged in the mirror dimension. She has to think about something. Some questions she thought she had figured out. This devil fruit named Age Fruit didn't really improve her personal strength much. The magical power she has mastered surpasses this fruit by a few. However, this fruit brought her unexpected benefits. For hundreds of years, Ancient One has nourished her own body with dark magic, like Pangborn using magic to walk. In fact, it wasn't that Pangborn was cured. It's just that Pangborn has been using magic to walk. Pangborn had said that there were still deeper secrets to be learned, but he didn't have that physical strength, because his power was used for walking. The same goes for Ancient One Magician. She absorbs the power of the dark dimension, nurturing her body uninterruptedly. This is what keeps her young for hundreds of years. Once she is a little careless, time will flow on her again. That's why she looks a little old. Over the centuries, she also tried several times not to accept Dormammu's power, but the final result was not ideal. Sorcerer Supreme did not appear and she herself gradually aged. After that, she never left the dark magic for a moment. But after eating this age fruit, now it brought her a feeling that she had never experienced before. She thought that finding the feeling of being alive again when she looked in the mirror was already a great benefit of this fruit. But after using the magic, she really felt the changes brought about by this fruit. Her body remained healthy under the effect of the fruit. She doesn't have to maintain the dark magic power to warm her body. The dark magic power became a part of her magic. Ancient One looked up at the mirror dimension. This mirror dimension is larger than usual, because this time more dark magic power was injected into it. Age fruit, this has completely changed me. What if I no longer absorb the magic power of the dark dimension? Ancient One does what it thinks. She directly dissipated the power from Dormammu on her body. Crack tilde tilde. Crack tilde tilde. The huge mirror dimension keeps shrinking after losing the support of magic power. In the end, this dimensional space was directly reduced by half. An even more excited smile appeared on Ancient One at the moment's face. Hundreds of years, I have not felt so relaxed. There is no longer the magic of the dark dimension in the body. No more Dormammu murmurs in her ears. She doesn't have to worry about being accidentally controlled by Dormammu. The Ancient One, who let everything go, entered another level of meditation. Her spirit seems to be traveling in an endless universe. A mysterious gaze slowly gathered on her soul. That is the gaze from eternity. I don't know how long it has been. Ancient One's soul has finally returned to her body. Time, eternity. There are still so many possibilities in the future. She got up slowly and opened a portal casually. Finally, she knocked on Qin Xiao's door. Qin Xiao opened the door. At the moment, he frowned. The Ancient One in front of him gave him a different feeling. It looks the same as yesterday, though. But Qin Xiao seemed to feel another breath from her body. If we talk about Ancient One yesterday, her demeanor is dignified, peaceful, and a little dead. Now then, in dignity and peace with vitality, vitality, can the fruit of age bring such power? I ate the fruit of age. Ancient One finally spoke. Has it improved your strength? Qin Xiao naturally knew that Ancient One had eaten the devil fruit. After all, the system has already given him the answer, so he was even more curious about this question. After Ancient One ate the devil fruit, he gave Qin Xiao a magic feedback. This proves that Ancient One has used the fruit of age to a certain extent. So how much will this change her strength? When Ancient One heard Qin Xiao's words, she nodded. The fruit didn't improve my strength, but the fruit completely changed me. It didn't improve your strength but changed you. What's going on? Qin Xiao couldn't understand Ancient One's words at all. Tony's Huanquin fruit is the kind of fruit that does not improve the strength but has a great change. If you eat that fruit, it will have no effect as long as you don't die. The special effect of live another life will be activated only after death. Is there anything special about this age fruit? There are some things that I can't tell you right now, but personally I would like to thank you here. Ancient One couldn't tell Qin Xiao about her absorbing dark dimension magic. It is even more impossible to tell him that this age fruit freed her from her dependence on dark magic power. Although she doesn't know how long this power can last, but for her this was an extremely relaxing moment. Ancient One's solemn thanks directly drove Qin Xiao into a complete bewilderment. Who I am, where am I? What am I going to do? Is Ancient One crazy? Why did she suddenly thank me so formally? Did that fruit of age hurt Ancient One magician's brain, or Dormammu possessing others' body? Ancient One. One question after another kept echoing in Qin Xiao's mind. This time, he himself underestimated how suitable the system's matching fruits are for individuals. The benefits that Ancient One got from the fruit of age far exceeded his imagination. What exactly is going on? In the end, he only asked such a question. I can't tell you the specifics at the moment. But I agreed to your request to learn magic yesterday. Now, do you want to continue learning more magic? Instead, she took the initiative to ask Qin Xiao this question. She said yesterday that she had to think about it. Now she decided to teach Qin Xiao more magic. The fruit of age has given her such a great benefit. This is equivalent to owe Qin Xiao a huge favor. I still want to learn more magic. In exchange, I'll tell you about the fruit's ability development. Qin Xiao took advantage of the situation to get off the donkey and kindly asked for an exchange study. Ancient One taught Qin Xiao magic. Qin Xiao taught the development of the Ancient One devil fruit. As long as the fruit power developed by Ancient One is stronger, the more magic Qin Xiao can passively master, plus his own study. He believes that he himself will soon be able to become a master at Marvel. The kind of master of level Godfather, even beyond the level Godfather. He didn't know that Ancient One had a different feeling about this fruit. Even if Qin Xiao doesn't talk about the application of the fruit, she will constantly explore it herself. Then, the next step is to learn the portal first. Ancient One started to prepare to tell the essentials of the portal again. This magic is one of the two magics that Qin Xiao most wants to learn. I have already learned the portal. Qin Xiao suddenly interrupted Ancient One's words. Have you learned it? Now it was Ancient One's turn to be curious. Could it be that her spiritual travel took a long time? It's been so long that Qin Xiao has learned the second magic. But she confirmed it, the time to enter meditation this time is not long. Qin Xiao smiled. This thing is a benefit from feedback from you. Immediately afterwards, he took the sling ring and began to cast magic with both hands. Xi tilde. Xi tilde tilde. A space door with yellow flashes gradually appeared in front of the two of them. And behind the portal is Holy Place, New York. Ancient One watched the steadily stabilizing portal. She nodded. Although the casting speed is a bit slow, you have really learned it. That's when Daniel, an Asgardian in Holy Place, New York, discovered the portal that appeared out of nowhere. When he arrived, he finally saw who it was. Daniel, magician, excuse me. Ancient One gently apologized to Daniel. Daniel stared at Ancient One of at the moment for a moment, obviously still the Sorcerer Supreme. But why does Ancient One of at the moment feel different to him? When he was in a daze, Qin Xiao stepped through the portal. Daniel, magician, I wonder if there have been any major events in New York recently. He opened the door to Holy Place in New York this time, just to know the situation in New York from here. Ancient One has always kept the magician well hidden, so even Shield is not aware of the existence of Holy Place. Even if he has learned the portal, Qin Xiao will not open the portal in other places under normal circumstances. So come to New York, Holy Place is the best place. And Daniel, as an Asgardian in Holy Place, New York, he has been keeping an eye on intelligence in New York. If you ask him for news, you will definitely get a lot of information. Daniel looked at Qin Xiao and then at Ancient One. Big things are happening in New York all the time, and I don't know what you want to know. Qin Xiao was slightly teased by Daniel. I don't know if it's because Qin Xiao hurt him in the mirror dimension last time. So, is there anything going on with Stark Industries lately? Qin Xiao changed the subject. Yes, Tony's temporary bodyguard Frank is wanted. Daniel's opening to leave was a piece of news that surprised Qin Xiao for a moment. Frank is wanted. Qin Xiao always felt that he had heard it wrong. Spent several weeks in Camertage by myself. Frank hadn't called him all this time. He thought everything was normal here at Stark Industries. If he hadn't learned mirror dimensions and portals, he would have stayed in Camertage to continue his studies. Qin Xiao has always had his own plan in doing things. He who just crossed over is an ordinary person. At that time he was careful. It took a long time, and by chance the first swamp fruit was delivered. Shuttle in New York as an ordinary person. There have been many near accidents. Meet a wounded and vengeful Frank. He only tricked Frank into eating the swamp fruit after he was injured. With the ability of the swamp fruit, he can be regarded as a little bit self-protective. After that, I started to contact Jinbin and arrange the Stark industry. I found an opportunity in advance to create an existence in front of Tony. All of this is his plan. In fact, he also did a lot of layout, just waiting to be lifted when necessary. He did not set foot on the land of Camertage until he had the ability of the three fruits. In his plan, before learning the portal and the mirror dimension, other things have to be put on the back burner. Even if what Jin Bin and Tony did involves tens of billions of dollars. Also ranked after learning magic. So Qin Xiao has never contacted the other party. As for Frank, protecting Tony is the only task. Although he knew that Obadiah's death was basically set. Tony is not stupid, Frank will find a chance to do it. But now it turns out that Frank is wanted. The development is really a bit deviated from the plan. Daniel could see that Qin Xiao really didn't know anything. Stark Industries, a lot has happened lately. Closed the arms department, shares plummeted, he was condemned by various media. These things are okay, at least not involving human life, but 2 days ago something big happened. Obadiah, a veteran of the Stark industry, was assassinated by Tony's bodyguards. Now, all of New York is looking for the killer. Daniel casually picked up a newspaper from the edge of the table. Qin Xiao took the newspaper in doubt and checked it. The headline on the front page above is about the assassination of Obadiah, and the murderer is Frank. Not only that, the newspaper also emphasized one point. Frank caused the deaths of part of the Stark Industries board of directors. Some military personnel were also present at the time. None of these people escaped Frank's attack. In other words, Frank moved his hands when a crowd gathered. Killed many people at once. And the newspaper finally emphasized that Frank is suspected of being a mutant. Seeing the word suspected to be mutant, Qin Xiao knew that Frank must have shown his ability. But why are there so many people at the scene? What happened at that time? One question after another echoed in Qin Xiao's mind. The strangest thing is that Frank the Punisher never informs himself if he kills someone. This was already 2 days ago, unless there is something hidden about this matter. It seems that you have something to deal with now. Ancient One's voice came from behind Qin Xiao. Ancient One magician, I really need to deal with something now. Mirror dimensions are good magic for surveillance, and portals allow you to go anywhere. Ancient One reminded Qin Xiao. Qin Xiao instantly understood that this was Ancient One's reminder to himself. Let's investigate clearly. I see, it seems that learning magic needs to be postponed. Qin Xiao felt helpless. The idea of wanting to grow obscenely in Camertage is not going to work. But just in time, see for yourself what's going on in New York. Qin Xiao simply said goodbye to Ancient One and Daniel and then chose to leave directly. In the car, Qin Xiao called Frank. "Qin, have you returned to New York?" As soon as the phone was connected, Frank's voice came from the opposite side. His voice was calm. This made Qin Xiao heave a sigh of relief. "I just saw the news. What the hell happened? According to the plan, even if you want to do it, you will find a time when you have a good reason. Normally, you should be the rightful bodyguard Tony. How could he be regarded as an assassin? Moreover, how did the military and Stark Industries directors get involved?" Question after month came out of Qin Xiao's mouth. He wanted to know what happened around Tony during this time. "Qin, I was tricked by this matter." After Frank finished speaking, Qin Xiao seemed to hear the sound of gnashing of teeth. "You were cheated. Tell me in detail what happened." Qin Xiao at the moment is not in a hurry. Frank has the fruit ability of the swamp fruit nature line. As long as it is not attacked by special means, it is difficult and life-threatening. Once Frank gets away, he's able to live pretty well on his own terms. Even in a sense, the Punisher who doesn't protect Tony is the scariest. Those guys don't know what kind of beast they released. This call may be tapped. I will go to safe house no. 3. Understood. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Afterwards, he stored the phone in his body. This prevents the phone from being traced. Safe house 3. Frank began to tell Qin Xiao about the past few weeks. The stock price of Stark Industries fell by more than 55 points the day after Tony announced the closure of the weapons department. Even numerous TV programs are constantly criticizing Tony's waywardness. Tony, on the other hand, stayed in his villa. Not only did the media not see him, not even the members of the board of directors can see him. Obadiah went to Tony many times, but every time he was prevaricated by Tony. 2 days ago, Obadiah came to Tony's villa again. "Tony, the company needs new results to attract attention." Obadiah didn't mince words this time. "What's the meaning?" Tony looked at him warily. "Arc reactor in your chest." Obadiah pointed directly at Tony's chest. Tony's eyes changed. "How did you know?" Because he was reminded by Qin Xiao, he did not tell Obadiah about the arc reactor this time. But now the other party directly pointed out the arc reactor on his chest. "Tony, whether it's Pepper or Colonel Rhodes, we have a way to make them speak." A lot of people came in from outside, the board of directors, the military. Tony was speechless. During this time, he recreated the new arc reactor. The old one was replaced with the help of Pepper. The old reactor was packaged by Pepper and put back in Tony's underground lab. Fortunately, he already knew that this matter would not be concealed for long. If they know it, then they know it. Obadiah looked at Tony also with a bleak look on his face. "Tony, there's a humanoid flight device that's been fighting terrorists all over the world these days. Even shot down a military plane. Do you really think no one knows these things? Now the military needs an explanation from us." At the moment, he became more and more enthusiastic about arc reactor in his heart. A weapon capable of defeating military aircraft. This is the most powerful weapon. He spent a lot of time researching the old armor that Tony left at the base over there. A more powerful battle armor has been formed. What is missing now is a strong power source. This power source is the shrunken arc reactor. His technical team has made breakthroughs in other technologies. Only this cannot be done. Today, he is bound to win this arc reactor. So this time he even called out some of his pro-him military and board members. Now a forced palace situation has directly formed. "Okay, if you know it, you will know it. But I will keep this thing for myself and I will not disclose the technology of this. After I perfect it, I will directly build clean energy that belongs to Stark. You can use this to divert media attention. As for the military, Colonel Rhodes has already given an explanation. What else do you need to explain?" Tony rejected Obadiah outright, but he also gave a method to transfer media. Until at the moment, Tony hadn't made up his mind to do anything to Obadiah. The Mark III armor has been successfully developed during this time. He even went to the area where the terrorists walked to walk the streets and fight for justice. By the way, it attracted the attention of the military. During the engagement, one aircraft was destroyed. Definitely, this incident was perfunctorily dismissed by the military under the pretext of an exercise. But the real situation behind it obviously did not escape Obadiah's investigation. Today, it is obvious that Obadiah is coming to force the palace. What Tony didn't expect the most was that the military would get involved with Obadiah. Obviously, Colonel Rhodes has already delivered a speech on behalf of the military. It appears that a power struggle has begun within the military. Tony understood it instantly. At this time, Obadiah spoke again. "Since you have closed the Weapon Research and Development Department, the arc reactor on your chest will become the company's achievement. As a company's success, we need to research and analyze it. Obadiah urges Tony to hand over the technology of the arc reactor. This technology belongs to Stark Industries. The stock price of Stark Industries is still shrinking constantly. None of them can do anything until new technology is injected. Moreover, there are still people who are targeting Stark Industries. Stark Industries as a partner in the military. He robbed the business of an unknown number of arms dealers, like Hanmer Industries, such as the Osborne Group. Now Stark voluntarily gave up this advantage. Other companies naturally wish to kill the Stark Group directly with a stick. They shot behind their backs. The stock of Stark Industries plummeted by more than 10 points. The current Stark industry is only worth 10 to 20% of its peak value. This made Obadiah, who had worked hard for 30 years, almost vomit blood. Today, he wants to take the entire Stark group into his own hands. Tony, if he doesn't obey, he will be dismissed directly. After passing through this outlet, kill him again, or imprison him. Smaller versions of arc reactors can be crafted in dilapidated caverns. Then give him a laboratory. I don't know how many powerful weapons can be produced. And all this, not only Obadiah has this idea. Those with vested interests behind it even think so. Tony, just be a playboy. The Stark Group, as long as his name, Tony Stark, is on it, business does not require him to participate. These years without Tony's intervention, the Stark Group and the military have been at ease. Now instead, something went wrong. If there is a problem that cannot be solved, then solve the person who raised the problem. Tony, the one to be solved. That's why he has board members and military members to back him up. Forget about the arc reactor. Stark Industries still has my name on it anyway, so I have the right to decide the direction of the company. Now, please leave. Tony directly issued the order to evict the guest. Obadiah looked at Tony from at the moment, and he had a sneer all over his face. He casually glanced behind him. A military person came out. Mr. Stark, we are not involved in matters within your company, but now we need to take Frank away for investigation. During your kidnapping, our military spent a lot of effort but failed to find any clues about you. As a retired soldier, how did he get the information? We suspect that he has something to do with kidnapping you. Now he needs to cooperate with our investigation. This military personnel has a business-like face. Hearing what the military personnel said, Tony's expression changed. Colonel Rhodes already has preliminary findings on Frank's matter. Now Frank is my personal bodyguard. You have no right to interfere without my permission. No, unfortunately, we have the right. Not only that, we also found out that Frank was related to multiple attacks in the previous months. He is suspected of multiple murders. Now he's a suspect. Another representative of the military also spoke. Frank, surrender. The military soldiers actually drew their guns directly at Frank. Tony heard the words of the people in the military. His expression changed. These people deal with themselves, and others have to restrain their hands because of his reputation. But if you deal with Frank, it will be really troublesome. But Frank, standing behind Tony, wasn't worried. On the contrary, the way she looked at these people became very dangerous. These guys, the target this time is actually themselves. During this period of time, Frank, who had been a little quieter, began to stir in his heart. Do you really think you are easy to provoke? If he hadn't agreed to complete the task Qin Xiao gave him, he had already set off a bloodbath in New York. The revenge of his wife and daughter has not yet been reported. If you suppress your temper, do you really think that you are easy to bully? The people behind you also underestimate yourself too much. Mr. Stark, I'll go with them. Frank at the moment also wanted to know what they were going to do. Tony knew what Frank was up to. Frank is a powder keg. These people are courting death by taking Frank away. Immediately afterwards, Tony watched helplessly as the military personnel left. This time, only Obadiah and the board members were left in Tony's villa. Obadiah looked sullen. Tony, your bodyguard has committed a serious crime and was taken away, and he may never come back. Hand over the arc reactor. Stark Industries and the military are still partners. It's obvious what he means. If you don't pay, maybe Frank will never have the chance to show up again. Tony at the moment finally thought of Qin Xiao. As Qin Xiao's person, Frank should inform the other party now. Bang tilde tilde tilde. But at this moment there was a violent explosion in the distance. That's the military convoy. That's the military convoy. A member of Stark's board looked stunned. The military convoy exploded, not long after they left Tony's villa area. What exactly is going on? Boom tilde tilde. Boom tilde tilde. Boom tilde tilde. Immediately afterwards, one explosion after another spread directly. The entire military convoy that just arrived was directly wiped out. The sound and flames of the explosion attracted countless eyes. This time, Obadiah's face became particularly gloomy. This is different from what they planned. Frank got into the car where he was being held. As soon as they got in the car, the soldiers all changed their faces. Originally, they were relatively polite and they punched and kicked Frank directly. Even hit him on the head with the butt of the gun. Although imprisoned and abused, Frank is not in a hurry. He was even in the mood to snoop on intelligence. You didn't intend to let me reach the detention point alive, did you? You have to understand that we are also taking orders. A leader apparently acquiesced to Frank's words. Really? You're dealing with Tony and taking me away should be enough. Why do you want to kill me? If you want to blame you for going to Afghanistan and destroying the original plan. Sure enough, the terrorists there are also your people. Frank actually already knew these things. However, now it has been confirmed again. Qin Xiao told him that the people there had something to do with Obadiah. Now it seems that it has something to do with the military. You know too much. After the leader finished speaking, he gestured to the soldiers beside him. Boom tilde. Boom tilde. Several soldiers received the order and pulled the trigger directly at Frank. Feud tilde. Feud tilde. The rapid bullet hit Frank's body in a blink of an eye. Target resists kill on the spot. The leader at the moment also explained the facts in the communicator. Resist. Frank is all chained up. Where did the resistance come from? Watching Frank get hit by countless bullets, the leader nodded, set up the scene. Several soldiers began to prepare for the scene in the car. But at this moment, Frank's contemptuous voice sounded. You guys are really direct. Immediately afterwards, the figure who had fallen to the ground stood up again. Not only that, but his body, which was supposed to be restrained, has already broken free. His body was like a puddle of mud. Those temptations to torture him were useless at all. You are not human. You are a mutant. A tense voice came from the soldier's mouth. This time the problem is serious. I didn't expect to deal with it this time. It would be mutant. One soldier even connected directly to the communicator in his ear. Report, the target person is mutant. Cleanup failed. Obviously, they are very experienced fighters. It's impossible to kill Frank at such close range. They are definitely more ominous than ominous. Being able to reveal this news now is the last thing that can be done. No, I'm not a mutant, I'm a fruit ability. Frank grinned. He did nothing to prevent these people from leaking the news. He even took the initiative to tell others that he is a fruit ability holder. He still remembered what Qin Xiao said. I really want to thank him and make the name of the fruit ability winner. Obviously, this battle with the military is just the beginning. Numerous bullets traveled through Frank's body. His body naturally turned into a swamp when he was attacked. All the gunshot wounds had no effect on him. Frank rushed towards the soldiers like a beast. With limited space in the car, they had nowhere to escape. Frank backhanded and pulled a pistol from a soldier's waist. Boom tilde. Boom tilde. Boom tilde. Several gunshots were fired in succession, and several soldiers with guns in the car were directly knocked down by him. The out-of-control military vehicle overturned directly to the ground. At the moment, other military vehicles following the vehicle also stopped. Everyone could hear what the soldier said through the communicator. At the moment, they are like an enemy. They don't know what fruit abilities are. But they all know mutant. A group of soldiers directly surrounded the overturned car. Boom tilde tilde. Boom tilde tilde. Boom tilde tilde. There were bursts of noise from inside the military vehicle. In a moment, the shape-shifting car door was smashed open. A figure appeared intact in front of everyone. On his chest, a white skull pattern attracted everyone's attention. Frank turned into a Punisher. But then all the soldiers became terrified. In Frank's hand, there was a bazooka in his hand, and the target of the bazooka was the leading military vehicle. What the hell, where did Frank get the bazooka? Get out of the way. Get out of the way. A soldier roared frantically, SHH tilde tilde. Unfortunately, it was too late for him to shout. Frank squeezed the trigger of the rocket hard. A rocket with a trailing flame directly smashed the entire military vehicle into pieces. He's out of weapons, hit. Seeing Frank put down the bazooka, the leader directly gave the order to attack. Countless weapon bullets shot towards Frank. One bullet after another just penetrated into his body. But Frank didn't fall at all, not even bloodshed occurred. No, the opponent's ability is immune to bullet damage. Mutant, the opponent is indeed a mutant. Report to the above, this time the mission failed. Prepare to retreat, don't fight recklessly. Seeing that the bullets had no effect on Frank, everyone was ready to retreat. They are all seasoned fighters, know what it means to retreat strategically. Fighting, defense, retreat, report, all soldiers are preparing for the retreat in an orderly manner, and how could Frank let them go? Bazookas appeared one after another constantly in his body. All the military vehicles here were directly destroyed by him. These participating soldiers suffered heavy casualties. Frank even captured several officers. The explosion here was exactly the explosion that the people in the villa heard. None of them could have imagined how such a serious firefight had happened just after they left. Frank was arrested. Did someone rescue him? Impossible. Does anyone dare to snatch someone from the military? Why don't you dare? Maybe the other party is the one who kidnapped Tony, and Frank is the spy arranged by the other party beside Tony. Now it's leaked, so grab someone. It may also be murders. These directors are constantly guessing the possibility of things. Obadiah's face was ashen. The explosion just now has definitely killed all the vehicles that the general came this time. As for the personnel, it is estimated that there will be no survivors. This time, it completely exceeded his expectations. Frank and the people behind him are so insane. How dare you directly attack the army? When he was in contact with the military, he asked them to check Frank's situation. The other party is indeed an elite, received full Marine Corps training. However, that is only the limit of a human body. Under the escort of this entire team, how could the opponent have a chance to resist? Moreover, they are all ready. Kill Frank by leaving Tony's villa. Don't give him any chance to come back. But the opponent's shot seemed to be more fully prepared than theirs. As soon as they left, the entire military vehicle team was directly destroyed. The opponent's manpower and firepower are really too strong. He never imagined that Frank could do this only because the other party was not an ordinary person. Because after Frank became a fruit ability user, there are really too few people who know about it. Of the people here, only Tony knows. This is the power that Frank showed when he saved him in the first place. It was precisely because of this that Tony believed Qin Xiao's words. He himself will eat the fruit of the underworld. In fact, he didn't feel any change after eating the fruit of Huanquan. He even sometimes doubts whether this fruit is useless. But he didn't dare to die once to verify this fruit. As for the board members, Tony looked at them like a bunch of jokers. They are all Obadiah's guns. This time, Tony himself will take back the power of the entire Stark Industries. This is the impact of information asymmetry. Others were worried, but Tony wasn't afraid at all. Obadiah subconsciously took out his cell phone, wanting to contact someone, but at this moment, a figure came directly from outside Tony's villa. Punisher Frank. Classic white skull top. Most shocking of all, at the moment Frank has a rocket on his shoulder. He stood outside the villa looking inside calmly. Immediately afterwards, he pulled the trigger of the rocket. Boom tilde tilde tilde. A rocket hit Obadiah with its tail flame. Obadiah's eyes turned terrified in an instant. Soul light, this guy, why did you do it directly? At the same time, there were other directors at the moment who also looked terrified. One rocket and they don't know how many people will be killed. Even Tony at the moment looked shocked. Frank, why are you so reckless all of a sudden? Boom tilde tilde. A violent explosion sounded in Tony's villa. Obadiah exploded directly on the spot. Die with peace. In other words, you just killed Obadiah just like that. After listening to Frank's words, Qin Xiao finally understood what happened. That's right, I kept Obadiah. I was worried that he would cause trouble, so I killed him directly. Frank has no psychological burden to kill, so what happened next? Why did you say you were cheated? Frank was angry when he heard Qin Xiao's question. In fact, I found out later that it wasn't just those people who came. In the dark, there are more people waiting to benefit. It's easy to kill, but the trouble after that. Since the number of casualties is high, I will definitely be investigated. I definitely couldn't stay, so I said hello to Tony and left. Without Obadiah, it happened again. He should be protected by more people in a short time, so his safety should be fine. However, that night Tony called me. I am wanted. I was originally prepared for the matter of being wanted. It is not normal to not be wanted for murder. But what's abnormal this time is that it's another force from the military who wanted me. Qin, do you know how many forces there are in the military? Frank asked Qin Xiao a question. In fact, he himself knows that military power is messy. I knew it was messy when I joined the army. He got more news from the captured officers. That's why I asked Qin Xiao subconsciously. He wanted to remind Qin Xiao that there was danger behind this. Qin Xiao's heart sank when he heard this. Marvel's military forces are numerous. Stark Industries should represent the school of modern weapons. This row should be the most widely involved. There is also the Super Soldier Project faction led by General Ross. There's also the Mutant Research faction with Stryker among its participants. Other hills with large file size and small size are more numerous. Their chaos is far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Qin Xiao casually mentioned 3 factions. Frank heard so much news from Qin Xiao casually. He was also relieved. That's right, there are too many hills inside. I was worried that you didn't know these things, but now it seems that I was worrying too much. This time, because of my fruit ability, they took me as a mutant. The people led by Stryker just had no reason to do anything to mutant. Now, a reason to come to your door appeared. This faction is the most important thing that wanted me this time. In fact, during these 2 days, there were not many people who hunted me down. Instead, the hunt for mutant is going on like crazy. A battle involving humans and mutants is unfolding. Mutant definitely cannot sit still. While resisting, they prepared to arrest me. If you catch me, maybe you can put an end to this incident against mutant. Alas, that naive idea again. Both the military and the mutants started to attack, but the people behind Obadiah fell silent. So I say I was cheated. Qin Xiao frowned slightly after listening. There are too many things involved in Obadiah's case. Originally, Qin Xiao thought that the killing of Obadiah would not cause too much disturbance. When Tony killed Obadiah, Shield came to finish him off. As a result, things have become such a big mess now, it is impossible to calm down easily. Frank wanted, from Stryker, a human who wants to destroy mutant. On the other hand, mutant, who wants to continue to live in peace with humans, will also make a move. Qin Xiao frowned. This mutant, maybe it's Charles and the others. Are you going to fight mutant so soon? Perhaps this is a good opportunity to test their respective abilities. Just in time, now is the time to make a name for the fruit ability. If they do, you don't have to hold back. In addition, this time the employment task is officially over. You can continue to investigate your own affairs. During this period of time, you should have established a good relationship with Tony, and you are welcome to borrow some of his connections. Qin Xiao directly arranged Frank's next steps. Immediate termination of employment. Set Frank free. Frank's expression changed when he heard this. I see. Next time you have something to do, you can come to me again. Obviously, Frank is wanted now, but he doesn't care at all. I even want to thank Qin Xiao, because he knows how much he has taken advantage of. Besides, what he did originally was wanted all the time. It's just that there was no such a big battle before. The improvement that the swamp fruit brought him was far beyond imagination. The ammunition he got when he went to rescue Tony last time can guarantee his firepower even more. Now he just wanted to find the gang who attacked his family, then kill them all. Frank has a definite plan for his revenge. The Hell Mad Dog has been cleaned by him. Then there are the Mexican GE gang and the Irish gang. Originally, his revenge had been proceeding in an orderly manner. But there are too many vigilantes operating in the middle of the night in Hell's Kitchen. Last time I met a guy who called himself Daredevil. That guy interfered with his revenge plans several times. He even got himself seriously injured once. Fortunately, I met Qin Xiao at that time, and he boldly ate the devil fruit he gave. This decision empowered himself to take revenge. These two gangsters are ready to be wiped out. Frank the Punisher had a goal of his own in the blink of an eye, since his family members were killed in gang fights. Then let's kill all the gangsters first. Qin Xiao and Frank are discussing the next thing. But at this moment, Qin Xiao felt something strange outside safe house number 3. Outside the safe house, there seemed to be two auras. Frank, someone is coming. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he directly opened the mirror dimension. He dodges and walks in, and Frank also walked in. Walking into the mirror dimension, Frank was surprised. The surroundings of this space are actually like that kind of broken glass texture. The most important thing is that there doesn't seem to be any connection between this and the outside. Qin. What fruit ability is this? Frank finally couldn't resist asking this question. This is the mirror dimension, not the fruit ability, but the magic that belongs to the hidden magician lineage. Magic, so this world is so mysterious. Mutant, fruit ability, magician. These are things that I haven't been exposed to before. I thought the training I received in the Marine Corps was already strong. The more I know now, the more I feel my ignorance. Frank was unexpectedly a little confused and sighed. Qin Xiao was speechless. You are confused, asterisk. It made you anxious. The protagonist has a halo on his body. You can kill the entire Marvel universe. Now gives you more power. Maybe it's easier for you to kill, but he won't say this and he can't let the Punisher think about slaughtering the universe. Let's go and see who came here first. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he passed through the safe house directly from the mirror dimension. Outside the safe house, two strangers were wandering around suspiciously. Are you sure they're here? A person who seemed to be jumping a little took the initiative to speak. His face was a little green, and he looked a little ugly. And beside him was a burly man. That's right, my ability has tracked it here. It seems that this place is not simple. The strong man has sharp eyes, and his nose is even constantly sniffing. On a pair of big hands, the 10 nails shone with a cold light. Seeing the two of them, Qin Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, they were the ones who found this place first. Qin, do you know them? Meet mutant Sabertooth and Toad people. Qin Xiao spit out the names of two people. He really didn't expect that these two people would be the first to find them. Hearing Frank's story, Qin Xiao was ready to be found by Professor X. After all, Charles has a brain wave strengthening device. With that bug-like device, he can almost connect people all over the world. But unexpectedly, before the X-Men came, the people from Magneto arrived first. Shall we get in touch with each other? Frank heard that the other party was mutant, and his eyes shone with excitement. As a fruit ability user, he now really wants to know how big the gap between his own strength and mutants is. You want to fight them? Qin Xiao also saw Frank's thoughts. That's right, some want to try how different the current power is from them. Then let's give it a try. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, the mirror dimension unfolded directly. Sabertooth and Toad, who were looking for Frank outside, felt their hairs stand on end for a moment. It was a feeling of being watched. Immediately afterwards, they saw a scene that shocked them. The two were directly pulled into a space that shone with the feeling of broken glass. However, although the two were surprised, they did not feel uncomfortable. Among mutants, there are too many people with special abilities. At the moment, they are considered to have entered the ability of a certain mutant. It's you are indeed here. The people of Toad saw Frank and his face was extremely excited. This is their goal. It seems that your target is me, mutant, so you want to take the initiative to show favor to some people in the military. Frank obviously didn't know that the two belonged to the Mutant Brotherhood against humanity. He thought it was Mutant who came to arrest him. The Toad grinned at Frank's words. No, we're here to invite you to join us. Invite me to join. This result directly exceeded all of Frank's ideas. Yeah, we've seen the paper, it says you're a mutant, and you obviously in trouble now. Eric thinks you need our help. What? The Toad people simply told Frank the reason. No, you're already having a hard time yourselves, and I don't think there's much more you can do to help. At this moment, Qin Xiao interrupted suddenly. Who are you? Are you a mutant too? The Toad people looked at Qin Xiao with a puzzled expression. Before Qin Xiao could speak, Frank took up the conversation directly. No, we are not mutants, we are fruit ability ones. Although I don't know who Eric you are talking about, but just because you didn't even find out my identity, I can know that you are not reliable. This is Qin, the demon messenger from the east. Those who can create fruit abilities from devil fruits, and I am just one of the fruit abilities. Frank looked at the Toads and Sabertooth with some disappointment. These two people obviously belong to mutant with animal mutation ability. But they don't know anything about themselves. I really thought that what was reported in the newspaper was the truth. It calls itself mutant just to trigger a war between ordinary people and mutant. Devil messenger. You are the devil messenger. Hearing Frank's introduction, Toad's expression changed. It seems that you have heard my name, but I don't seem to have done anything worthy of your attention. In recent months, the legend about the demon messenger has not been heard. Do you think we don't care that there are demons from the east invading the west? This involves a battle between two demons. If you don't pay attention, maybe we will all be in trouble. Although for so long this rumor has been just a rumor, we've never seen any demonic haunts, but we are still partially prepared. Unexpectedly, the so-called Oriental demon messenger turned out to be such an inconspicuous Oriental. The Toad man at the moment saw Qin Xiao. He was surprised but at the same time showed a trace of disdain. This Oriental guy is too ordinary. They imagined countless images of demon messengers. I can't even imagine how Qin Xiao will end up like this. Just an ordinary Oriental guy, inconspicuous, but maybe soon you will know who is inconspicuous. Qin Xiao looked at Toad with an inexplicable tone. Everyone under Magneto has a problem, what do you mean? The Toad people seem to feel a different feeling. Even Sabertooth at the moment beside him was a little restless. You don't think that we pulled you into this space just to have a casual chat with you, right? I brought you in this time, that is, I want you to fight with Frank well. Is it the strength of the mutant or our fruit ability? We'll be able to verify soon. Perhaps the reputation of our ability fruitioners will be spread through your mouths. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, Frank walked directly towards the two of them. As he walked, his body gradually rippled. A dagger just appeared in his hand. He doesn't know the specific abilities of these two mutants, and he didn't want to kill the two of them, so no powerful weapons were taken out. The power of the dagger is just right. Let me see what the abilities of the two of you are. The dagger in Frank's hand twisted. Frank, don't hold back. The Sabertooth in front of you has a powerful self-healing ability. And there is this powerful animal-like fighting instinct. That toad man has a strong jumping ability, and his tongue can also be extended. Their names are the characteristics of their abilities. Standing behind, Qin Xiao directly spoke about the abilities of the two of them. At this moment, the hearts of Sabertooth and Toad were shocked. You know our ability. As a demon messenger, do you think I don't know anything? You all know that rumors like that started coming out months ago. Do you think I will do nothing? Qin Xiao once again began to use information asymmetry to start fooling around. As a time traveler, I definitely know your ability, but Sabertooth and Toad and even Frank didn't know he was lying. Instead, a mysterious color continued to shroud him. At the moment, Toad and Sabertooth directly raised Qin Xiao's danger level by 2 levels in their hearts. But Frank, at the moment, was completely relieved. Since the opponent has a powerful self-healing ability, then he really doesn't have to stop. The dagger in his hand is holding a knife flower. In the other hand, a submachine gun appeared directly. Sabertooth, right? Let me weigh your strength first. Sabertooth looked at the dagger and submachine gun in Frank's hand. His expression became more dignified. Is your super ability capable of transforming weapons, or are weapons stored in your body? Second, I can store weapons in my body. Frank generously stated his ability. For him, his strength does not lie in the fruit ability, and his ability is more than just stockpiling weapons. Store weapons, let's see who can suppress whom. Hearing Sabertooth's words, he bent slightly. Then he charged directly at Frank like a beast. Frank pulled the trigger straight away. Da-da-da tilde tilde tilde. Da-da-da tilde tilde tilde. The submachine gun frantically poured out the bullets in the magazine. Msty tilde tilde. Msty tilde tilde. A full clip of bullets almost all went into Sabertooth's body, but Sabertooth didn't stop for a moment. He jumped high. On his hands, 10 nails stretched instantly. The whole person rushed towards Frank with a desperate momentum. The distance between the two became very close in the blink of an eye. Long distance may be Frank's world. His weapon can overwhelm others. But at close range, it is definitely Sabertooth's world. His strength and fighting style belong to the king of melee combat. Sabertooth, don't kill me. At this time, the Toad people were still sounding a reminder. Up close, Frank is no match for Sabertooth. This is the perception of Toad people. Worried that Sabertooth was injured and out of control, he killed Frank directly. Hey tilde tilde long-winded, I know. Sabertooth spoke disdainfully, and his sharp claws were still grabbing towards Frank's body. It's just that his sharp claws at the moment were slightly retracted. You guys are too confident. Do you really think that I will be afraid of you in close combat? The dagger flew in Frank's hand. Msty tilde tilde. Msty tilde tilde. The sound of sharp claws entering the body continued to resound. At the same time, there was the sound of a sharp knife piercing into the flesh. Frank and Sabertooth, they just stabbed each other without thinking. Roar tilde tilde. Sabertooth roared, your body, is it like this? His tone was full of deep doubts. Even the Toad people who stood aside at the moment were shocked. Sabertooth's powerful and heavy claw seemed to hit the non-Newtonian body directly. After Frank's body was hit, there were layers of ripples. Sabertooth's claws lost power just a little deeper. Instead, Frank started devouring Sabertooth directly with the characteristics of the swamp fruit. Sabertooth felt the suction in his hands. He kicked Frank, then he pulled out his arm directly. At the moment, he looked at Frank with vigilance. It seems that as a mutant, your strength is nothing more than that. As soon as Frank and Sabertooth played against each other, they immediately understood their own strength. There was absolutely no way Sabertooth could beat him, although he himself has such thoughts. Physical attacks are almost useless against him. With this alone, his strength has already stood above most people. It's just that I haven't played against anyone before, so I'm still a little uncertain. But now it seems that there is absolutely no problem with his positioning. This time, Sabertooth's killing intent was directly aroused. His body attacked Frank again like a tiger. This time, his sharp claws did not restrain themselves. The sharp and long claws whizzed through the air. Boom tilde tilde. Msty tilde tilde tilde. Sabertooth's claws hit Frank with force. At the moment of being attacked, he chose to resist the opponent's attack. But this time, Sabertooth's power was far beyond his imagination. Frank's whole body was directly sent flying by Sabertooth. Sabertooth, as a mutant originally, is far more powerful than ordinary people. Frank suffered from carelessness this time. Very well, your power is interesting, otherwise, you mutants would have disappointed me. Frank at the moment is a little excited. This is the bloodthirsty feeling that comes from fighting. If you want to fight, then fight well. Sabertooth was in high spirits now. Today, the two of them will eventually fall one. Sabertooth attacked Frank again with great force. Frank's dagger accurately intercepted the path of Sabertooth's attack. The dagger-sharp blade pierced Sabertooth's palm, but in a blink of an eye, Sabertooth recovered from his injury. His self-healing made Frank helpless. Not only that, a huge force made him unable to resist at all. Sabertooth is clearly overwhelming Frank in terms of strength. Insufficient strength, Frank immediately changed his tactics. He loosened his hand and the dagger fell to the ground. Immediately afterwards, his whole body directly turned into a swamp. Sabertooth's attack went right through his body. Sabertooth staggered, feeling that he hadn't hit anything. Frank's physical transformation is amazing. His mutant, which is good at strength and physical skills, has no effect, but Sabertooth didn't care. His self-healing ability allows him to fight for a long time. As soon as he stabilized his figure, he turned around and attacked Frank again. Frank is also right. Another dagger emerged from his body. Psst, tilde tilde. Clap tilde tilde tilde. The fight between the two was accompanied by the sound of constantly falling into the flesh, and the sound of heavy objects falling into the mud. Both of them gave up the defense directly. Frank's nature fruit makes him immune to physical damage, and Sabertooth's recovery ability made him not care about injuries at all. The battle between the two at the moment actually showed an evenly matched appearance. Qin Xiao watched the battle between the two, and he knew that Frank was still restrained. There are too many weapons in Frank's body. He can even unleash a myriad of bombs if necessary. Although it may still not kill Sabertooth, it will definitely make Sabertooth feel the pressure from the firepower. He will get hurt, he will hurt. Frank, on the other hand, doesn't have any worries in this regard. At least in the face of physical attacks, there is no concern. What Frank at the moment is doing is getting a feel for other uses for the bog fruit. Use other than as an infinite space storage. Every time he played against Sabertooth, he made adjustments. In the swamp where his body transformed, the soil and water were constantly changing. At the moment under his feet is directly connected to the mirror dimension. Like a spring surging, a larger and larger swamp is gradually forming. Qin Xiao was suddenly taken aback. Create matter out of thin air. Omega-class mutants. An amazing idea flashed in his mind. Iceman creates ice out of thin air. His ability judgment directly reached the Omega level. It's just that Iceman's ability has no Omega level judgment, but it doesn't have Omega level strength. Now the same goes for Swamp Fruit. Devil Fruit ability users, the upper limit does not know whether they can reach the upper limit of mutant. If the Swamp Fruit can really correspond to the Omega level mutant, then there may be many Omega level fruit ability users in the future. After all, there are too many violations of physics rules in Devil Fruits. Lava fruits create lava out of thin air. Hyuhyugyo is an arm that can be stretched out from various places. According to Mutant, these are Omega grade. A strong desire arose in Qin Xiao's heart, eager to know how far these devil fruits can reach in the future. But then he shook his head. It's impossible for a devil fruit to have such a powerful force. At least the devil fruit in One Piece world didn't show any power beyond star level. Omega level, maybe this is just a fantasy. Qin Xiao's attention returned to Frank. The swamp of his avatar grew bigger and bigger. The process is a bit slow but very firm. Sabertooth and Frank start to notice something is not right. His attack became more and more difficult. Originally, one punch could break Frank's body. Now a punch seems to sink into the opponent's body. It was easy to get rid of the mud of the opponent, but now it takes more power to escape. Even because the ground swamp is more and more spreading, Sabertooth is now even farther and farther away from where it lands. Once his feet were in the swamp of the ground, his whole body seemed to fall directly into it. Sabertooth originally's powerful fighting instinct made him feel the crisis directly. After another fight, Sabertooth finally escaped Frank's attack zone. This area of yours is getting bigger and bigger. I think melee combat is nothing to do with you. Sabertooth was helpless. Frank, this is building a swampy field around yourself. In that field, if you're not careful, you will be swallowed by the swamp. He had to stop attacking. And as his attack stopped, it meant that he had already lost this battle. Sabertooth couldn't understand why this happened. They are mutants. There has always been their arrogance. especially following Magneto Eric. Their theory of mutant supremacy makes them even more arrogant. Their abilities are varied, they are all natural sweethearts, but now why a so-called devil fruit ability suddenly appeared? Why is his strength so terrifying? Sabertooth doesn't understand why the fruit abilities are so powerful, but Frank at the moment raised the corner of his mouth. It seems that fighting with powerful people can improve my strength, constantly expand your field while fighting. This is a basic way of swamp fruiting. It is much more powerful than simply using the swamp as a storage space. However, because I have never met anyone who can persist in fighting, my development of swamp fruit has been stagnant. He clearly learned something from this battle. Devouring the field, this is the most basic use of the swamp fruit. If only you could expand your swamp space in the blink of an eye. For example, it instantly expands to a range of 1 square kilometer. In this way, except those who can fly, as long as they enter your area they will be swallowed by you, and once in your swampy area. How to deal with others is completely up to you, so how to quickly expand the range of your swamp, that's what you have to think about. Qin Xiao reminded Frank on the side. Frank's development of the swamp fruit will be transformed into Qin Xiao's power. That's why he cares so much. Moreover, the Omega-level guest just now shocked him. Although he understands that it is highly unlikely that fruit ability users can reach that level, but that didn't stop him from imagining such a future, pursuing the expansion of the field in an instant. Frank thought about it. If you can really expand the swamp territory in an instant, so it is true that very few people can take advantage of it in their own hands. That's right, give up your usual fighting thinking. While maintaining the battle, he maintained the fruit ability expansion, requires training and ability. This is a typical double purpose and not everyone has it, but your strength is immune to physical attacks. Your thinking can also spread freely. Developing in only one direction can make the development of your fruit ability much easier. Qin Xiao knew that the natural fruit ability should not be such a waste. He has his own understanding of the swamp fruit. He always believed that the power of this fruit was originally terrifying. At least it is much higher than the upper limit of smoke fruit and the like. For example, frozen fruit can directly freeze the entire land. Swamp fruit can definitely develop a similar ability, turn a wide range directly into an ocean swamp. If Frank instantly turns everything around him into a swamp, then when Sabertooth comes in the only result is being swallowed. Melee, it was too late for him to escape. It's just that Frank can't do this kind of instant large-scale swamping. Relying on his freezing ability and physical skills, Aokiji directly secured the position of the 3 generals. If the swamp fruit is developed, it can be only slightly weaker than Aokiji and Akinu. Qin Xiao made this judgment because he felt that both ice and lava could restrain the swamp. You turned into a swamp and the green pheasant was frozen for you. You turned into a swamp and Akinu dried it for you. But apart from these two, everyone else's swamp fruit should be able to fight. Qin Xiao so calmly guided the development of Frank's fruit ability. Make the Sabertooth and Toad people around you feel incredible. At the moment Frank has such a powerful force, this demon messenger actually feels that it is not powerful enough. Toad Man at the moment lost in thought. The battle between Sabertooth and Frank he just watched clearly from the side. Although he and Sabertooth didn't get along very well, but this time accept Magneto's mission to invite Frank. They originally represented the face of Magneto. However, now this face was directly torn apart by the other party. Frank's strength exceeded their expectations. His strength is obviously the same as that of mutant. A bold idea flashed in his heart. In fact, Frank originally was mutant. This Oriental is a demon messenger, actually tricking Frank. What Eastern demon messenger? It's just a mutant ability of the opponent. And his ability can activate the hidden power of other mutants. In other words, this Oriental is actually a mutant. However, his mutant power is auxiliary type. However, this auxiliary power was packaged by him as some kind of Oriental demon messenger. All this is a conspiracy. A conspiracy against mutants and lurkers with the mutant X gene. Under his ability, a mutant with an X gene manifests its powers. Then use this to manipulate and gather these mutants. Finally, with him, the demon messenger, as the center, a powerful force was established. Thinking of this, the people of Toad seem to be enlightened. Frank, you have been deceived by this Oriental man next to you. I was tricked. Frank looked puzzled. He had no idea what was going on in this Toad man's mind. I won Sabertooth myself and now I say I was cheated. Could it be that he felt that Qin Xiao had a problem with his guidance? Yes, you have been tricked. Your power is the same as mutants. You are actually a mutant originally, but he used a devil fruit ability to fool you. In fact, this so-called demon messenger is actually a mutant. His ability is the ability to activate the hidden power of mutant. And you are nothing but the mutant he inspired with his powers. The Toad Man spoke his guess straight away. Qin Xiao was taken aback by this recognition, but he suddenly felt that what the Toad people were saying made sense. In mutant, it is normal to have some people with special powers. As he said, the ability that can activate the mutant ability of others is also possible. Then, it is entirely possible that Frank was originally possessed of the mutant and the gene. Then the mutant that just happened to be activated. As soon as the Toad Man's theory came out, Sabertooth beside him was also stunned. Matter, is that so? This fruit ability who has been fighting with himself for so long. Actually just a mutant. After listening to Frank, he also looked confused. Isn't this Toad guy crazy? Frank knows more, so he doesn't believe in the theory of the Toad people. Because the fruit Qin Xiao gave Tony is the fruit of Huanquin, can bring people back to life. Could it be that Tony's mutant ability is to live another life? Also, Frank knows something that Tony doesn't even know. That is, those with fruit abilities will be abandoned by the sea. This is what Qin Xiao said when he hired him to save Tony. Don't fall into the sea, fruit ability 1, abandoned by the sea. Frank as a member of the Marine Corps. His training at sea was not infrequent. Regarding Qin Xiao's words, he tried it himself with a skeptical attitude. Then, he found out he couldn't swim anymore, or maybe not swimming anymore. But in the sea, his strength seemed to be pulled out of his body. Mutant, is there such a shortcoming? At least Frank didn't believe it. But this didn't stop him from listening to the brilliant theories of the Toad people. But this is just your guess, right? Do you have any evidence to prove it? Frank began to seduce the Toad people. Evidence? What evidence is needed for such a thing? You didn't have awakening before you became a mutant, so he can fool you. However, if it's an awakening like us, he left us with nothing to do because our mutant power has been activated. If you don't believe me, I'm standing here. He said he is the devil of the East. Then show the power that belongs to the devil on my body. Take out a fruit that makes me eat and change. The Toad Man at the moment seems to have figured it out. Since you said you are a demon messenger, then you show us one live. Let's become fruit ability users. Frank is a little unimpressed with the Toad people. I thought you could come up with a method, but it turned out to be such an ineffective method. There are so many people in the whole world, not everyone can become a mutant. Then why do you demand that anyone can become a fruit ability user? You are a mutant, and it has nothing to do with whether you can become a fruit ability. Or do you think that you are a mutant, and you think that all the power in this world is the power of mutant? Let me tell you, there are many kinds of power in this world. Do you know this space? This space is still the magician's magic ability. Could it be that you think this ability is also the power of mutant? Frank directly scolded the Toad people. Toad was directly beaten back by Frank. It made him really speechless. Frank had a point after all. Qin Xiao watched the quarrel between the two, the corners of his mouth gradually raised. This guy is simply looking for a step for himself. I was still thinking about how to make them eat devil fruit. In the end, he actually delivered it directly to the door. Moreover, it seems that mutants with special abilities can match devil fruits. The Sabertooth and Toad people in front of you can match. Now I want to meet Magneto even more. Not surprisingly, having a devil fruit would be a good match. He directly gave the Toad people a big thumbs up from his heart. This saved myself a lot of saliva. And in his heart, he had a new plan. Toad people, I can match the devil fruit for both of you. However, I have a question. Why should I give you a devil fruit just because of your doubts? Qin Xiao didn't give Toad any face. Even if his heart really wants to give the devil fruit to Sabertooth and the Toad people. Because in that way, he can improve and expand his own ability. Even now, he wants to meet Magneto Eric even more. Let the opponent eat the fruit that is likely to match. But this matter cannot be done casually. Give the Punisher Frank the swamp fruit, he followed him with all his heart. Give Tony the fruit of Huanquin, where he also got at least 5% of the shares. And Jin Bing's bomb fruit made the other party buy the shares of Stark Industries. Even an ancient one, he exchanged the fruit of age for the opportunity to learn magic. Now, the Toad people want to give him the matching fruit with just a few words. Innocent. If this rule is opened, it will be difficult for the team behind. Hearing Qin Xiao's words, Toad was taken aback. If Qin Xiao is really the devil's messenger, it can indeed activate the fruit ability again. Then the other party really has no reason to do it just because of a word. This time he felt a little bit on wax. Qin Xiao looked at the other party with some contempt. The most important thing is that the two of you seem to have not figured out one thing. You are now in my space. In a sense, you are my captives. If it wasn't for Frank to feel the power of your mutant, both of you should be lying on the ground now, like this. After he finished speaking, his hands changed for a while. Swamp fruit directly separates a large slush. You also have such power. This time, toad people are not calm. If Qin Xiao's ability is to activate other people's mutant power, then it is impossible for him to have the same power as others. Is there anything strange? Qin Xiao shook it casually. The mud from his hands was thrown towards Sabertooth and the toad like a grenade. Boom tilde tilde. Boom tilde. Two consecutive explosions sounded. The toads and Sabertooth were blown away. Cough tilde tilde tilde. After a while, Sabertooth struggled to his feet. His self-healing ability allowed him to survive the blast. However, the people around Toad are not so lucky. In this sudden explosion, he was directly blown out. If it wasn't for Qin Xiao, he wouldn't want to kill him yet. The Toad people probably turned into corpses directly. Sabertooth looked at the horror on Qin Xiao's face. At that moment just now, Qin Xiao showed the same ability as Frank, but the opponent's ability is obviously more amazing than Frank. Those swamp mud can actually explode, and the power of that explosion definitely surpassed the power of a grenade. The demon messenger in front of him has now displayed 3 kinds of power. This inexplicably magical space is called the mirror dimension, the fruit power that can turn into a swamp, and the power to make slime explode. At the moment, he already believed that Qin Xiao was the devil's messenger. If he wasn't, how could he have so many abilities? Most of their mutant powers are very specific. Eric's field control, Charles' psychic ability, his own self-healing. However, this Eastern demon messenger directly displayed several abilities. This powerful force may really be because there is a demon behind the other party. Sabertooth, next, I need you to take me to meet Eric. There are some things I need to talk to him personally. Just right, isn't your goal to find Frank? 2 things we did directly together. Qin Xiao said his request. Sabertooth had originally wanted to say no. But Qin Xiao was right, they came here for Frank. Now not only Frank can take it, you can also take the demon messenger behind Frank with you. This is literally doubling the task. The only downside is that it's forced. Okay, I'll take you there. Seaside cliff edge. Here is a temporary base built by Magneto Eric, because he found an interesting thing. There have been rumors for months that demons from the east are invading the west. And the opponent is using a devil fruit that can provide people with changes. Make a spray change with an external force. This idea directly stimulated him. A new idea popped into his mind. Their mutants have a special X gene, which has been natural selection for countless years. However, if artificial methods are used to directly accelerate this change, it is like using devil fruit to provide ability. Are they able to accomplish such a thing? For example, build a device that can amplify the mutation of the X gene. In front of him is the prototype machine that has already been built. Now just waiting for the final experiment. Unexpectedly, you still built this thing. Unexpectedly, you still built this thing. Just when Magneto Eric looked at the equipment in a daze, a strange voice came from behind him. He turned to look and saw a circle of light shining yellow behind him. From that aperture at the moment walked out several people. Sabertooth was carrying the unconscious Toad Man. The one beside him is Frank. Next to it is an oriental face. Eric was startled. This person might be the legendary devil messenger. He knows a little more than the others. After all, there is Mystique, a spy who is constantly gathering information. Mystique can go where others cannot. Things that others don't know can also be learned through Mystique. Frank's face is already in the paper. The demon messengers of the East have always remained mysterious. But seeing Frank being so respectful, he guessed that this oriental man was the demon messenger. Magneto narrowed his eyes, and the power to manipulate the magnetic field gushed out directly. There is a lot of metal in this cliff. These were prepared by the way when he built the equipment. Now, these metals were about to take down Frank and Qin Xiao. For Magneto Eric, everything has to be in his hands. It is obviously the most appropriate to bind the two of them with metal. Frank saw Magneto move. He stood in front of Qin Xiao without any hesitation. He naturally didn't want Magneto to hurt Qin Xiao. Although he knew, he didn't know the upper limit of Qin Xiao's strength at all. Every time he thought he knew the upper limit of Qin Xiao's ability, in the end Qin Xiao would be able to show more powerful power. Originally, he was still interested in guessing. Now he has no doubts about Qin Xiao's strength, devil messenger, true to its name. Qin Xiao looked at Frank in front of him and he directly pulled him away. Leave this matter to me. After he finished speaking, he looked at Magneto and smiled slightly. Eric, it seems we need to get to know each other better. As soon as the voice fell, the whole space resounded with a click. Mirror dimension. Since you want to fight, then pull directly into the mirror dimension. Eric didn't care about the changes around him. He manipulated several metal railings and flew towards Qin Xiao and Frank, followed by more metal flying in the air. He has considerable confidence in his ability. Even if it is mutant, very few people can survive in his hands, either Sabertooth or Toad people. As long as he wants, he can easily kill it. The two people in front of me are no exception, but in the blink of an eye, his eyes changed. Except for the first few metals, Eric couldn't feel the rest of the metal. Even his ability to manipulate the magnetic field seemed to be directly blocked by something. He watched helplessly outside this broken space, and the metal controlled by him hit the ground heavily. What is this? You blocked my abilities. Eric subconsciously moved away from Qin Xiao. Fortunately, some metals followed this into the mirror dimension. He manipulated the remaining metals and guarded them by his side. If it's better than destruction, maybe my current ability is not as good as yours. But if it's just a battle between two people, you can't be my opponent at all. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he leaned forward slightly. Boom tilde tilde. A violent explosion sounded in the mirror dimension. Qin Xiao's figure disappeared directly into the explosion. When he reappeared, he was in front of Magneto. Explosion usage of bomb fruit. Directly launch your body as a cannonball. This is the way he fought Daniel. Moreover, with Jin Bin's development of the bomb fruit, each explosion is now more powerful than before. The speed this provided Qin Xiao was even more terrifying. Magneto's heart skipped a beat. This speed is really terrifying. The metal beside him thrust towards Qin Xiao violently. Qin Xiao stretched out his hands. At the moment's hands were like a piece of mud. The metal that attacked Qin Xiao was directly caught by his Meyer giant hand. Magneto's eyes froze. Qin Xiao's body can actually undergo such a change. Magneto does not believe in evil. He continued to manipulate the metal, which was constantly struggling. But Qin Xiao's body is also constantly changing. No matter how he manipulated it, metals like gold couldn't have any influence on Qin Xiao. In the end, these metals gradually disappeared in Qin Xiao's body. Now without these things, you are just an ordinary old man. Qin Xiao gradually regained his human form. He looked at each other calmly. Qin Xiao looked calm, but only he knew the shock in Magneto Eric's heart. Are you really a demon messenger? Magneto's tone was full of disbelief. This Oriental man's fighting power is really amazing. Magneto knows one thing well. In mutant, he is powerful himself. In terms of destructive power alone, few people can match him. Demolition of buildings, bridges, stadiums. He is simply a demolition king. Even using the method of manipulating metal, he is also superior in individual duels. As long as there is metal, he can kill back and forth in a crowd. Even when confronting those policemen, it's not a problem to finish one by one. However, this person in front of him is really perverted. The magnetic method he manipulated had no effect on the opponent, although the metal he controls can be inserted into the opponent's body. However, the other party didn't care at all. The opponent's body can actually turn into a puddle of mud. Physical attack has no effect. All the metal goes into the slime and eventually even disappears. It's like a real swamp. After something falls into it, it will eventually be swallowed by the swamp. I am definitely the devil messenger, and my ability is the ability provided by the devil fruit. We are not the mutants you think we are. But these things are not important. This time I came to you because I have something to discuss with you. Qin Xiao stretched out his hand to cast magic. A portal appeared in front of everyone. Several people came out of the portal. Leaving the mirror dimension, Magneto once again felt objects that could be controlled by magnetism. He had a guess: if the other party didn't pull into that mysterious space. Can you directly submerge the opponent with huge metal? Or put the opponent directly in a metal box by yourself? Once this idea appeared in his mind, he could never abandon it. But for the time being, he still suppressed the feeling of ready to move. If the other party wants to talk to you, then talk. What do you want to discuss? You are fruit ability users, so you shouldn't have anything to say with our mutants, right? Magneto has a feeling that no strangers should enter. I really never thought of coming to you at this time. According to my plan, your meeting should still be in the future. After all, we still have too few fruit ability users. But this time I didn't expect to offend people like Stryker. And their target is obviously mutant. Our fruit abilities are also regarded as mutants. It is estimated that they will also be targeted by Stryker in the future. That's why I'm here to form an alliance with you. Let's deal with the pressure from the military together. Qin Xiao stated his main purpose of coming to Magneto. This world is dangerous. Regardless of other forces, the government and the military are always the most powerful force. There is also a global safety committee behind it. Mutant is also good. Avengers is also good. Inhumans are also good. they are all under the surveillance of this world government. Unless both sides are prepared to completely destroy the entire world. Otherwise, groups like Mutant would have been suppressed forever. Magneto even wants to overthrow the entire system and let the world be ruled by Mutant. But they never succeeded. Even Qin Xiao sometimes speculates that Professor X Charles has always been committed to living in peace with mankind. Is it because he knows something that others don't know through the brain wave strengthening device? For example, how much hidden power does this world have, such as magicians, like Shield like God? Once Mutant really goes to war with humans, those hidden forces will intervene. And at that time, Mutant will usher in destruction. Qin Xiao's fruit ability is really similar to Mutant. Now they are few in number. If there are a little more of them later, they will definitely be specifically targeted by the government. Just like Stryker did for Mutant. As a vulnerable person, Qin Xiao has always focused on Mutant. Forming an alliance is an important plan in his early development. Magneto frowned slightly when he heard Qin Xiao's words. Alliance, are you allied with me or with Mutant? He asked what seemed like nonsense, but Qin Xiao knew what Magneto meant. This alliance is only for people you can master, other mutants. I will find them if necessary. Qin Xiao gave Magneto an affirmative answer. So, how do we get along after the alliance? What do we give and what do we get? Well, give and get, that's the key. If there is no benefit to alliances, why bother? You provide me with information and I will enhance the strength of some of your people. You provide me with information and I will enhance the strength of some of your people. Qin Xiao finally said the way to form an alliance. Intelligence. That's right, intelligence. Mystique can sneak into most places and she must know countless news there. What I need is such information. In exchange, I can provide you with devil fruits. This increases your mutant's personal strength. It's a mutual benefit thing. Qin Xiao revealed his plan. What information do you want to know? I can't provide you with all the information endlessly. You need to limit a range. Magneto apparently agreed to Qin Xiao's alliance plan, but he also has his own requirements. It is impossible to provide endless information. After all, a lot of information is very precious and cannot be leaked. You need to tell me the news about fruit ability users, devil messengers, Oriental devil legends. No matter the progress of their investigation, the countermeasures they prepared. As long as it is related to these few news, you need to tell me. Qin Xiao had already thought about the information he needed to know. Although he would like to know some more news, but now he still has too few staff. No matter how much information you know, it won't do anything. Moreover, his main purpose is actually to send the devil fruit out. Give it away for a reason. Only when these devil fruits are sent out can he gain more power from the opponent. Just like now, with just 4 fruits, his strength has already surpassed many people. If there are more and more fruits in the future, those abilities who use the fruit develop stronger and stronger powers, then his strength will become stronger and stronger. If his offer was too high, Magneto refused. Isn't he out of luck? Hearing Qin Xiao's conditions, Magneto breathed a sigh of relief. This request is not excessive. He can absolutely say yes. Okay, I agree to your request. However, I want to know what kind of devil fruit can you provide us? After all, there is no evidence for empty words. I am worried that your claim that you can provide devil fruits is false. Magneto is also a master who does not suffer. Qin Xiao grinned and looked at Sabertooth. I can advance a fruit with Sabertooth Victor as the experimenter. If I offered you a devil fruit directly, maybe you wouldn't believe it. But to Sabertooth, you should have nothing to worry about. His self-healing ability originally possessed a strong vitality. You won't worry about him being cheated to death by me. But in exchange for this devil fruit, you need to provide me with some information when the time comes. Magneto is still figuring out how to verify the devil fruit. As a result, Qin Xiao had already figured out how to verify. Sabertooth's self-healing ability can indeed guarantee him immortality in most cases. Getting Sabertooth to eat devil fruit is the most convenient way for now. Okay, Victor, come here. Magneto beckons Sabertooth over directly. Sabertooth had been listening to the conversation between the two. Hearing Magneto's greeting, he dropped the toad who had been in his hand. He listened to Magneto very much. He seems to have had the same head trauma as Wolverine. Logan has forgotten his past. Sabertooth Victor even forgot his life experience. Now see Magneto call him over. He walked over without any hesitation. Ding, a devil fruit match has been detected. Matchable fruits. Causal fruit, dark fruit, shaking fruit, tons of pressing fruit, fast cutting fruit, melting fruit. When Sabertooth approached Qin Xiao within a certain range, the sound of the system rang in Qin Xiao's ear. Back in the mirror dimension, Qin Xiao knew that Sabertooth could match devil fruit. Not only that, Qin Xiao was very shocked by the number of fruits that Sabertooth could match. 6 fruits. This is the first time Qin Xiao has discovered a person who is suitable for so many fruits. Ancient One was only suitable for 3 fruits. Frank the Punisher was only adapted to 2 fruits. But Sabertooth is directly adapted to 6. This kind of thing is also the reason why Qin Xiao came to Magneto wholeheartedly. Mutant's adaptation to devil fruit seems to exceed his own imagination. If each mutant can adapt to a large number of devil fruits, then Qin Xiao can exchange the fruits he wants as quickly as possible. For example, this time Sabertooth is directly adapted to the perverted fruit power of the dark fruit and the shaking fruit. If more mutants are encountered later, will it be possible to match more powerful fruits by then? Ripples constantly fluctuated in Qin Xiao's body. The devil fruit is being exchanged by the system. In the blink of an eye, 6 fruits appeared directly in front of everyone. Unexpectedly, there are 6 fruits. Unexpectedly, there are 6 fruits. Look at the 6 fruits in front of you. Frank looked startled. At the beginning, Qin Xiao only offered him 2 fruits. The reason is that he only fits 2. But now this Sabertooth is directly adapted to 6. This brought an incomparable shock to his heart. Frank muttered subconsciously in his mouth. Hearing Frank's words, Magneto seemed to understand something. The devil fruit in your mouth matches, isn't everyone different? That's right, the number of fruits suitable for each person is actually different. For example, the toad man lying on the ground only got used to 1. Moreover, you can only adapt to 1 devil fruit. I haven't yet figured out why Sabertooth is so special. He alone can match 6 devil fruits. Qin Xiao's tone was calm. He didn't mind telling each other about Magneto and the toad. The fruit of Magneto is naturally the magnetic fruit of Supernova Kid. The degree of fit between this fruit and him is almost 100%, all magnetically controlled, no guesswork is required, and the fruits matched by the toad people are a bit interesting. Spring fruit. It seems that such a fruit was matched because of the amazing jumping ability of toad people. Even Qin Xiao couldn't find a more suitable one among the animal fruits. Maybe it's because there is no toad fruit. But Sabertooth's matching is a bit too amazing. Qin Xiao has been thinking about why this happened. Do you want to introduce these fruits? Magneto had no idea that he was only matched with 1 fruit. Even he himself is somewhat disdainful of fruit ability. His mutant powers have put him on top of the world. He will not eat an inexplicable fruit. His own ability is already very strong. Is it possible to eat a fruit that is likely to have side effects to add to yourself? Devil fruit is not a good thing at first glance. What if I ate the fruit and got involved with the devil in the end? But it is a good choice to let others eat and then observe by yourself. Moreover, he was really curious about the brightly colored and strangely shaped fruits in front of him. Can this thing provide people with a super ability like a mutant? Qin Xiao heard Magneto's words, and he began to introduce the abilities of these fruits to them. This fruit is called Karma fruit. It converts the damage it takes into size and strength. The greater the damage to the body, the greater the size of the body and the increase in strength. The disadvantage is obvious, that is, to be hurt. And this fruit is called the dark fruit. It can change the body into darkness with a black hole-like gravitational force. It can inhale, compress, and shatter everything that comes into contact with darkness. Its disadvantage is that it can withstand all kinds of damage. But it will make you feel twice the pain. This one is called the Zhenjin fruit. Can cause vibrations, earthquakes, tsunamis, shockwave, etc. are all vibrations. Because of the vibration, it will cause great harm to the user originally. This one is called Tun Yak fruit. He was able to change the weight of his own body. It can be developed to a maximum weight of 10,000 tons. Its disadvantage is also that it will cause harm to one's own body. After all, a body suddenly becomes so heavy and the body load is not small. It is easy to hurt yourself by hurting others. As for this one, it is called the quick slash fruit. Can change any part of the body into a sword. This fruit has no special shortcomings, and this one is called molten fruit. He can generate high temperature inside your body. The devoured metal melts and takes shape within the body. If desired, the shaped weapon can be taken directly from the body. If there is a disadvantage, it is to eat metal. Qin Xiao briefly talked about the abilities of these fruits. Following his explanation, several people at the scene roughly understood the power of these fruits. Frank compared it himself. It was found that the fruits Qin Xiao gave to himself seemed to be better than these fruits. When you are elementalized, you are immune to physical damage. This alone is not comparable to the fruits here. Thinking of this, his original feeling of being a little unbelievable because Sabertooth was able to match 6 fruits changed directly. Sure enough, quantity does not equal quality. Qin Xiao didn't know what Frank was thinking, otherwise he would probably be speechless. Qin Xiao looked at Sabertooth. So what fruit do you want?
P.S.
I bought a gaming chair today and I was ready to code well, but the smell of this plastic is really too strong. My head is about to explode. Is there anything that can get rid of the plastic smell quickly? There will be another chapter in a while. Can there be 2 chapters? Will I have a headache when I see it? I need to think. Sabertooth said it was something to think about. His eyes went to Magneto instead. Apparently he listens to Magneto now. Qin Xiao was also very curious. Magneto would choose this way. In fact, Qin Xiao discovered the fruit characteristics of this match. 4 of the 6 fruits are harmful to the body. The more injured the karma fruit is, the stronger it is. The dark fruit directly bears double the pain. The shaking fruit and the crushing fruit are originally harmful to the host when used. These fruits will all have an impact on the host. But Sabertooth is a person with powerful self-healing ability. To understand this, Qin Xiao knew why Sabertooth could match so many fruits. The system made arrangements after taking into account the host's situation. If these fruits are arranged for some ordinary people, then it is impossible for them to develop the power of these fruits. The simplest one, such as Zhenjian fruit, if it affects the body every time it is used, then they will not develop this fruit well at all. It's like Vibe Girl Sky, she is the most extraordinary and has the power to shake. But every time she uses her ability, she will cause serious damage to her body. In the end, she had to wear special wristbands that Simmons and the others made. In fact, Zhenjian fruit may be the best match for Vibe women because their ability is consistent, just like the fruit matched by Magneto is a magnetic fruit. But it is impossible for Qin Xiao to give the Vibe fruit the Zhenjian fruit, really give this fruit to the other party. It will only turn this fruit into a waste fruit, because Vibe women dare not use it at all. But if this fruit is given to Sabertooth, he doesn't have to worry about using it at all. The damage of the shaking fruit, his own self-healing can directly counteract it. Injuried, self-healing is it. The other fruits are basically the same. Karma fruit need to translate damage to your own strength and size. Sabertooth's body ensures that he can take a lot of damage without dying. As long as he doesn't die, he can become even more terrifying. Other ordinary people may just kneel down when they are hurt. It is difficult for him to kneel. The same goes for tons of pressed fruit. When his body becomes very heavy, he can still attack others without any scruples. Injuried. Self-healing, as for the dark fruit. Double the pain, what a big deal. He has been in pain for more than 100 years and he is already used to pain. From Sabertooth, Qin Xiao understood some characteristics of the fruit selected by the system. It will choose according to the characteristics of the host. The more versatile the host's own characteristics, the more choices it will have, like Sabertooth's wild. As for cutting the fruit quickly, perhaps it's because Sabertooth was originally adapted to melee combat. Now use the quick cut fruit to change more swords. This is also a kind of improvement to his strength. It used to be just claws, but now it has countless sharp blades. Such an improvement is also evident for Sabertooth. Instead, it was a molten fruit. Qin Xiao didn't understand it for a while. It should be better to give this fruit to some fire-type or metal-type mutants, right? But looking at the ranking of the system, this fruit is also ranked last. It seems that the system is not very optimistic about it. Qin Xiao wanted to understand these things. He became more and more curious about how Magneto would choose. Magneto is also thinking about the status of the 6 fruits. Sabertooth was his #1 general, obedient. Not afraid of death, such a general naturally needs more powerful forces. And through Qin Xiao's explanation, he had his own plan. Karma fruit, injured strength and size will become larger. This is perfect for Sabertooth, who is out of his mind right now. As long as he is attacked, then his strength will increase. As for the dark fruit, Magneto didn't understand what this operation meant. The shock fruit can produce vibrations. But this thing seems to have no effect on Sabertooth. He is used to melee combat. What effect does vibration have? There are also tons of crushed fruits, which can turn the weight into a 10,000-ton class. This thing seems to be interesting. What if Sabertooth lunged at someone and instantly got heavier? This is simply a devastating blow. As for the quick-cut fruit, it can change into a sword. This works fine against melee Sabertooth. That molten fruit, I don't know what it is. So the fruit of cause and effect, the fruit of tons of pressure, and the fruit of quick cutting seem to be the best choices. Magneto looked at Sabertooth, his eyes narrowed slightly. Give Sabertooth karma fruit. Give Sabertooth karma fruit. Magneto finally made his choice. He chose karma fruit instead of Sabertooth. When Qin Xiao heard this answer, his heart trembled. The shocking fruit he wanted the most was not chosen. This is really a pity. However, he did not take the initiative to intervene in the opponent's choice. Because in the ranking given to Sabertooth by the system, karma fruit is the #1. According to the order of the system, this fruit is the most suitable for Sabertooth. So even though he really wanted to get the Zhenjian fruit, he still took out other fruits for the opponent to choose. And Sabertooth had no choice himself, instead handing over the choice to Magneto. The final result was actually the number one fruit given by the system. Perhaps this is God's will somewhere. Qin Xiao handed the fruit of karma directly to Sabertooth. This fruit is hard to eat. He kindly reminded Sabertooth. Sabertooth didn't seem to care though. Sabertooth took the fruit and ate it straight away. When the causal fruit touches Sabertooth, the other fruits disappear immediately. Now even if you want to regret it, you have no chance. Crack tilde tilde. Woo tilde tilde tilde, this thing is really unpalatable. When the fruit was really eaten, Sabertooth understood what Qin Xiao meant. This thing, it's so damn unpalatable. He forcibly swallowed the fruit of karma. His face was so irritated by this fruit. But after he swallowed the fruit, a clear understanding appeared in his heart. Injuried, get bigger. This is the basic experience brought to him by the fruit. He glanced at Frank subconsciously and then rushed directly towards Frank. After eating the fruit, I happened to practice with Frank. Frank obviously understood what Sabertooth meant too. He had fought Sabertooth not too long ago. At that time, I realized a little bit how to use the swamp fruit. Now that Sabertooth is coming to fight again, he just wants it. The two were fighting together in the blink of an eye. It's just that Sabertooth's melee method obviously can't take advantage of the swamp fruit. Frank didn't hit him hard. Sabertooth takes limited damage. This made him unable to see any fruit effect after getting the fruit. Instead, it gradually fell into Frank's swamp field as the battle progressed. Frank, attack with a weapon. His fruit is only effective for physical damage for the time being. Looking at the battle in front of him, Qin Xiao had no choice but to sound a reminder. This Frank is getting more and more familiar with the use of swamp fruits. Hearing Qin Xiao's words, Frank didn't have another word. 2 submachine guns were removed from his body. Do da da tilde tilde. Do da da tilde tilde. 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 The sound of continuous bullets piercing flesh sounded. Roar tilde tilde tilde. Sabertooth took this massive damage. He let out an angry roar. Frank's 2 clips run out. Dozens of bullet holes appeared in Sabertooth's body. But in the blink of an eye, these bullets were expelled from the body by Sabertooth's self-healing ability. If it is before eating the fruit, these bullets are expelled from the body and it is over. But now, Sabertooth has also become a fruit ability holder. He was hurt this time and his whole body let out a strange roar. Roar tilde tilde. Cause tilde effect retribution, response tilde. Chinese letter tilde. Chinese letter tilde. Chinese letter tilde. Under the shocking gaze of several people, Sabertooth, who was already very strong, directly transformed into a behemoth. Nearly 3 meters tall, a body of strong muscles. The sharp claws on his 10 fingers became even more terrifying. Even each one is more than a foot long. This terrifying appearance brought tremendous pressure to everyone present. Chinese letter tilde tilde. Sabertooth charged at Frank again. Frank looked at the big guy who was obviously more than 1 meter taller than him. My heart is also a little trembling, this thing. Is it also the ability brought by the devil fruit? The more severe the injury, the greater the extent of the enlargement. Originally's power will also become greater. Such ability is too scary. Boom tilde tilde. Sabertooth slammed right into Frank's swampy domain with awe-inspiring power. His huge claws swung through Frank's body. Frank was directly torn to pieces by these 2 claws. His body has turned into mud. Sabertooth has the upper hand for the first time in his fight with Frank. Definitely, Frank is not afraid of physical attacks at all. The moment he was torn apart, he gathered again. But this time, as long as Frank regains his human form, he will be directly torn apart by Sabertooth. The battle between the two seemed to be in some kind of stalemate again. Okay, stop it all, Sabertooth. Go back and get used to your abilities slowly. Qin Xiao looked at the 2 people who were at a stalemate. The initiative to speak made the 2 stop fighting. Hearing Qin Xiao's words, the 2 gradually stopped their hands. Sabertooth's bulk creaked in Magneto's base. At the moment, he felt a kind of strength that he had never had before, really powerful. Originally, he didn't care much about the devil fruit ability that Qin Xiao mentioned, because he thinks his power is already strong in mutant. The super self-healing ability not only provides a fighting style that is not afraid of death when fighting. What's more, his self-healing brought him a long lifespan. Having lived for more than 100 years, he is still in his prime. So he doesn't pay much attention to the so-called fruit ability. But only he himself knows the changes brought about by this causal fruit. Even now he has a feeling, maybe I am invincible. As long as he doesn't die, he can become the invincible one after all. The more you hurt me, the more invincible I will be. On the other side, Frank's muddy body gradually returned. He also knew his own weakness in this battle. He obviously hasn't adapted to the feeling of being torn apart directly. After being shredded, his recovery will take some time. During this time, he can hardly attack. Fighting is indeed the best opportunity to verify one's ability. Magneto looked at Sabertooth, who had returned to his side. His inner judgment of Qin Xiao has risen to another level. Devil fruit. So scary. Of the 6 devil fruits that appeared just now, handing anyone to Sabertooth created such a terrifying increase in combat power. He personally has finally developed endless curiosity about other devil fruits. Demon Messenger of the East, you have proved your ability, and I will share with you the information I have recently obtained. In addition, when the time comes, you need to provide a devil fruit to the Toad people. I want to see if Toad people can also get such a promotion. Magneto recognized Qin Xiao. He offered to share intelligence, and offered to provide devil fruit to the Toad people. More fruit abilities so that he can better observe whether there will be sequelae. No problem, just hand over the information summary to me. As for the fruit of the Toad people, as long as you can provide valuable information, I would love to expand the number of fruit ability holders. There was a little hidden excitement in Qin Xiao's voice. Just now, when Sabertooth officially ate the fruit of karma, he heard the feedback from the system. Ding, it is detected that the causal fruit has been eaten by the match, and the host absorbs the fruit ability of the other party. There is nothing special about this originally. This is what happens to those who eat the fruit. But when Sabertooth takes damage, he grows insanely large. Qin Xiao discovered a change in the system, Devil Fruit Trading System. 1. Eat by yourself, develop fruit ability by yourself. The number is limited. 2. Eat by others, absorb other people's ability. There is no limit to the number. Eatable fruits and objects. 1. Swamp fruit, the Punisher Frank Custer. 2. Bomb fruit, Jinbin Wilson Fisk. 3. Fruit of the Underworld, Iron Man Tony Stark. 4. Age fruit, Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. 5. Karma fruit, Sabertooth Victor Creed. Ability has been absorbed. 1. Swamp fruit, Punisher Weapon Proficiency. 2. Bomb fruit. 3. Yellow spring fruit. 4. Age fruit, Mirror Dimension Portal. 5. Karma fruit, Sabertooth Self-Healing. Fruit ability increase. 0%. In the system, there is a new ability to absorb karma fruit. Sabertooth Self-Healing. Qin Xiao never expected that after Sabertooth activated the fruit ability, it would directly feed back to him an ability that belonged to Sabertooth. Self-healing, after eating the fruit, immediately feed back the ability to Qin Xiao. The previous one was Ancient One. Sabertooth became the second. Qin Xiao probably knew the reason why he gave ability back so quickly. One is matching, one is the difficulty of developing this fruit. Karma fruit and Sabertooth should be a good match. Best of all, Karma fruit has very little difficulty to develop, because the ability of this fruit is too single, injuried. Get bigger, the more serious the injury. Get bigger and bigger. Does it need development? It requires no development at all. All it needs is your undying resistance. As long as it is not dead, its ability can be used. How to develop the ability of this fruit? Just be beaten by the most vicious. Just survive the beating. Because of the special nature of this fruit, Sabertooth directly fed back an ability to Qin Xiao when he grew bigger for the first time after eating it. And self-healing, that kind of strong resilience, is what Qin Xiao has always wanted. The most important thing is the benefits that self-healing can bring to him. Longevity, it's something anyone could want. The advantages of long-lived species like Thor over short-lived species like ordinary humans are too obvious. He has plenty of time to study and fight. But for short-lived species, there is not so much time. If Ancient One had self-healing, she can live forever. Will she still go to steal Dormammu's dark dimension power? Obviously, no. And if Ancient One can live thousands of years like Thor, Earth might be able to become another Asgard. Qin Xiao's changes after Ancient One got the Fruit of Age are obvious to all. Now Qin Xiao got Sabertooth self-healing. His life expectancy will be far beyond ordinary people. This is what he wants most. If he finally has great power. But he has to face the dilemma of running out of life yuan. He wasn't even sure if he would communicate with Dormammu like Caecilius did. Communicate with Dormammu and be nourished by dark magic. Live like the Ancient One. However, Qin Xiao himself is not sure whether he can resist the temptation of Dormammu like Ancient One. Now he got self-healing, which gave him at least 200 or 300 years of lifespan. Can give him more time to adjust his mentality. Find even more ways to extend your life. Since Sabertooth gave himself feedback on self-healing, so can more self-healing abilities become stronger together? In theory, it should be like this. Then it's time to match Wolverine with a devil fruit. Finally, can you get self-healing from him? There's even Deadpool and more. There are more people with self-healing ability originally. Thinking of this, Qin Xiao had a preliminary plan for what to do next. As for the kind of rapid recovery ability that self-healing originally represents, Qin Xiao didn't really need it. He now has the swamp fruit, a natural fruit ability. It has given him the ability to be immune to physical attacks. So it is very difficult to hurt him originally. Without injury, quick recovery is just a show. Moreover, when the ability of karma fruit is fed back to Qin Xiao's body, a bold idea appeared in his mind. If he does not choose the elementalization of swamp fruit when he takes non-lethal damage, instead, he chose to resist with his own body, then he who gets hurt will trigger the ability of karma fruit. In other words, his own body will grow bigger. Using a larger size to display the explosive fruit, can it increase the power of the explosive fruit? If it is said that the explosive fruit will not change its power because of its size, then the swamp fruit will definitely be affected. Larger size creates more swamps in an instant. In other words, although the current Qin Xiao is still absorbing Frank's swamp fruit power. However, he will be even more terrifying than Frank at creating swamps, even more terrifying because of its size. The chances of someone else's attack being captured by his body will be greater. It's like the difference between a person falling into a small fish pond and a large reservoir, even if you know water. But the larger the area, the more energy you will need to go back to the shore. This will give him a greater chance of winning the opponent. Based on this alone, it is also a swamp fruit. Qin Xiao from at the moment is even scarier than Frank. Could the cooperation between fruits be like this? It seems that if there is an opportunity in the future, I will do more research on the cooperation between fruits. Qin Xiao realized something in his heart. He is in a great mood with his strength greatly increased. So he agreed directly to Magneto's request. Magneto heard that Qin Xiao agreed to continue providing devil fruits to the Toad people. He felt a little relieved. He is now more interested in devil fruit. A Sabertooth can develop so much power. So what about promoting everyone else around him? At the moment, he kind of forgot that he didn't like the idea of devil fruit. Sure enough, nothing can escape the true fragrance. Next, I will ask Sabertooth to do something. If you are interested, you can wait and visit together. Magneto decided to keep Qin Xiao, and what he has to do is exactly the same as the devil fruit ability maker. Qin Xiao was shocked when he heard this. It seems that Magneto is going to find the little rascal. Okay, I'm interested in seeing your situation. Let's get to know each other better. Qin Xiao agreed to stay. Anyway, he doesn't have any urgent matters right now. Sabertooth, I have a mission for you. Sabertooth accepted Magneto's mission and left. Qin Xiao glanced at Sabertooth, who was leaving. Another glance at the still comatose Toad Man. There is a weird idea in his mind. When he was watching the movie, he was very curious why he only sent Sabertooth to catch the little rascal. At that time, obviously Toad people had nothing to do. As a result, this time I traveled over to participate in this matter. Killed the Toad people directly. This time Magneto sent Sabertooth alone to catch the little rascal. It's just because Toad people can't go. I just rounded out the whole plot like this. Get rid of this thought. Qin Xiao chatted with Magneto first with peace of mind. From Magneto's mouth, he learned a lot of information. Based on Magneto's information, Sabertooth directly found the haunt of the little rascals. Little Rascal has been constantly moving since he ran away from home. It seems to end up with an RV. He finally found an ambush point based on the several locations where the little rascal appeared. The roar of the car gradually sounded. Sabertooth set a trap on the road and waited for the opponent to stop. Woo tilde tilde tilde. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Sabertooth suddenly heard a loud bang. He got up and saw that the car that was supposed to stop had an accident. A figure has been thrown out of the car. Sabertooth looked at the figure who couldn't get up for a moment. He walked directly towards the car. Magneto's target is the woman in the car. Help, Logan, help. The little naughty screamed frantically. She didn't know who the person in front of her was. She didn't know if this man was a threat to her. So she called constantly, wanting Wolverine to save herself. At the same time, the impacted car was ignited by a few sparks. If you can't escape this car in time, maybe she will be burned to death in the car. Sabertooth was beside her in an instant. Roar tilde tilde. With a roar, he tore off the door directly. Ah tilde tilde tilde. Such a violent scene made little rascal exclaim. Unfortunately, she was caught by the seatbelt. There is simply nowhere to escape. Moreover, the flames behind him became more and more fierce. There was no way she could escape. Sabertooth paid no attention to the growing flames. His sharp claws directly cut the seat belt on the car. Immediately afterwards, Little Naughty was grabbed by him. Carrying Little Rascal, the two left the burning RV directly. "Hey, dude, are you in such a hurry to catch someone?" At this moment, a voice came from behind Sabertooth, Wolverine. His self-healing ability allows him to recover quickly. Even the sudden car accident didn't make him dizzy for long. Sabertooth turned and saw Wolverine behind her. The opponent's astonishing 3 metal claws on each hand shone with a cold light. "Don't get in the way." Sabertooth growled, then put her down. Wolverine lunged straight at Sabertooth, court death. Sabertooth was right. He threw away the Little Rascal and fought with Wolverine without dodging or evading. Psst. Psst tilde. Psst tilde tilde. The sound of continuous sharp blades piercing into the flesh sounded. Wolverine and Sabertooth exchange injuries directly. On Sabertooth's body, one wound after another was dripping with blood. Wolverine's foot-long sharp claws almost stabbed him completely. The severe pain was transmitted directly to his mind. Roar tilde tilde. An angry roar came from his mouth, and Wolverine was no better. His body was also scarred by Sabertooth's sharp claws. Also, Sabertooth's fighting instincts are stronger than Wolverine's. He also surpassed Wolverine in strength, speed, and destructive power. Although Wolverine has the blade of adamantium, every wound he inflicted was more terrifying. But the number of wounds Sabertooth inflicted on Wolverine was greater. Ah tilde tilde tilde. Roar tilde tilde tilde. The severe pain from the wound caused the two mutants with almost the same ability to howl. Pain, warm, anger. "Go away." Sabertooth finally had his chance, grabbing Wolverine and tossing him aside. Two people face each other from a distance. On their exposed bodies, those wounds are healing crazily. In a few seconds, the wounds of the two people disappeared. Self-healing, nearly the same self-healing ability. King Konglin looked at Sabertooth in bewilderment. "You have such a powerful self-healing ability like me." Unbelievable sounds came from his mouth. He knew that this battle was going to be troublesome. "Just like you. No, maybe we were the same before I became a fruit ability holder. Now you don't even know how powerful I am." Sabertooth spoke disdainfully. After Sabertooth finished speaking, his body expanded rapidly. In the blink of an eye, his size was directly close to 3 meters. This time, he was directly much higher than Wolverine. The increase in height brings about a crazy expansion of the entire body shape. If the original Sabertooth may only be 200 caddies, now it is likely to weigh 800 or 900 caddies. Originally, Sabertooth was more terrifying than Wolverine's power. Now under this body size, his strength has become even more terrifying. The most astonishing thing is the 10 sharp claws. At the moment are all nearly 1 foot in length. "Shed, can you still transform? It will probably hurt a lot." Wolverine looked at Sabertooth, who was no longer his size. A voice of resignation came out of his mouth. In a fight with such a guy, he will definitely be crushed. Pain will be the main theme of this battle, but to save the Little Rascal, Wolverine still chose not to believe in evil and took the initiative to rush towards Sabertooth. "Court deaths." This time, Sabertooth's tone was even more disdainful. Karma fruit has brought him too much change. This size gives him amazing strength. However, the intuition and sharp action of being a beast have not been affected by the change in size. His sharp claws gleamed coldly. The moment Wolverine rushed over, he slapped him with a slap. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Clap tilde tilde tilde. Wolverine was like a rag doll and was slapped away by Sabertooth. Nearly unconscious, he slid on the ground for a long distance. Sabertooth glanced at Wolverine, who was temporarily unable to get up. His eyes finally converged on the Little Rascal. "Boss wants to see you." After he finished speaking, he was about to grab the Little Rascal. No help. Little Rascal tore off his gloves while fleeing frantically. If Sabertooth catches her, she simply uses her ability to absorb the opponent's power. That way she might still be able to escape. But at this moment, a strong storm appeared between the sky and the earth. Sabertooth looked in the direction the storm was coming from. 2 figures stood out. Storm, Cyclops. This storm is exactly the ability controlled by Storm. Sabertooth's vision was affected by the severe storm, and Cyclops at the moment reached out and pressed his glasses. Kai tilde. Boom tilde. A violent red light bombarded the place where Sabertooth was standing with great energy. At that moment, Sabertooth managed to escape ahead of time. However, because of his escape, the Little Rascal has also stayed away from him. "Hey tilde, you all want to die." Sabertooth was angry now. He was really like a beast at the moment, attacking the two of them. The huge size is as rampant as a rhinoceros. Cyclops and Storm were taken aback. Charles said something was going on here, but I didn't tell them what it was like now. Besides, Sabertooth is their old rival. Why did it suddenly become like this now? Could it be that there is something new about Magneto? I seem to have heard the words of fruit ability just now. Is it related to this? Although the two have various thoughts in their hearts. But the most important thing now is to fight off the Sabertooth. Chi tilde tilde. The energy lasers of Cyclops exploded wildly. Sabertooth's path was directly blocked by him. Seeing that he couldn't get close to Storm and Cyclops at all, Sabertooth seemed to be cruel. He suddenly stopped avoiding the energy beam. Chi tilde tilde tilde. The intense beam of energy hit Sabertooth directly. His figure staggered under the strong impact. The place where it was hit was instantly torn apart. But then, he stood firm. The huge physical fitness brought by Karma Fruit brought him the power of tough Cyclops. His powerful self-healing ability gives him the strength to continue fighting. He walked forward directly against the energy shockwave of Cyclops. How could this be? Is this the same Sabertooth I've seen before? Unbelievable sounds came from Cyclops' mouth. This unscientific. When did Sabertooth get so scary? He frantically adjusted his glasses. An even more powerful shockwave attacks Sabertooth. Sabertooth is feeling the mounting pressure. Moreover, he felt something was wrong. Cyclops' energy attacks he couldn't translate into his own size and strength. At this time, he remembered Qin Xiao's words. Karma Fruit can only absorb physical damage for the time being. The energy of Cyclops hurts itself obviously only hard to eat. Knowing this, Sabertooth quickly changed his fighting style. He escaped directly from the Cyclops attack, then rushed towards Wolverine. Since the energy attack cannot be converted into the ability of Karma Fruit, then use other people to resist this energy attack. Sabertooth's combat IQ is astonishing. He grabs Wolverine. Wolverine was literally a ragdoll in his huge hands. Grabbing each other, Sabertooth turned and charged again towards Storm and Cyclops. Cyclops' binocular energy wave output crazily. But this time, Sabertooth put Wolverine directly in front of him. Scott, stop. Scott, stop. Storm stopped Scott just in time. The powerful blast of energy from the Cyclops just barely missed Wolverine. They don't know yet that Wolverine actually has a powerful self-healing ability. This time, Scott was a little bit restrained. Fortunately, there is Storm. Between the sky and the earth, dark clouds are gradually gathering. Boom tilde. Boom tilde. Lightning bolts fell from the sky one after another. Roar tilde tilde tilde. Sabertooth was struck by lightning from the sky in a blink of an eye. But he showed no hesitation and once again blocked Wolverine in the direction of the lightning strike. This time, Storm was also restrained. No matter how Storm and Cyclops attack, Sabertooth directly used Wolverine in his hand as a shield. I have to say that Sabertooth's combat IQ is really amazing. And the huge size and strength brought to him by Karma Fruit allowed him to easily do these things. Wolverine, who weighs 200 or 300 pounds, is really like a doll in his hands. Sabertooth would never have been able to wield Wolverine so easily without the Karma Fruit. Then this capture mission will directly fail. Seeing Storm and Cyclops hamstrung, Sabertooth carried Wolverine and rushed directly in the direction where the little rascal was escaping. It is really unwise for one person to fight 3 people alone. It's best to leave first. Sabertooth's huge size kept shuttling through the forest. Little Naughty, who was running for her life, turned her head and saw the scene behind her that terrified her. Wolverine was caught by the opponent. And the other party has already rushed in front of her. Don't come here. Boom tilde. Sabertooth bounced the little rascal lightly. She who just took off her gloves and was about to grab Sabertooth was knocked unconscious by this blow. Regarding the ability of the little rascal, Magneto said it clearly. This time to catch the little Naughty, it is also for her ability. So how could Sabertooth be sneaked by the little rascals? Sabertooth looked at Wolverine in his hand. Though Magneto only needs little rascals. But since Wolverine is caught, it's impossible to let go, right? Also, Wolverine is his super shield against Cyclops and Storm. Very useful. In this way, Sabertooth successfully captured Little Rascal and Wolverine. Running wildly, Sabertooth reflected on his powers. That Eastern Demon Messenger is really powerful. This karmic fruit brought too much power to itself. The only bad thing is that it can only absorb physical attacks now. Looking back, I have to go to the other party and ask them carefully. See if you can have an energy-absorbing attack. If able to energy-absorbing attack. Today, he was able to beat everyone down here. The Demon Messenger said they were fruit ability users. The combination of this ability and their mutant power is simply a perfect match. So is he now a mutant or a fruit ability? He is still thinking about the many devil fruits that Qin Xiao took out. It's very distinctive when you hear the name. If he had eaten other fruits at that time, would he have had a different experience? Thinking of this, he became more and more curious about the devil fruit that Qin Xiao still possessed. He was even more curious about how many more exotic fruit abilities Qin Xiao could produce. Unknowingly, Qin Xiao formed a mysterious image in Sabertooth's heart. Both Storm and Cyclops could only watch Sabertooth leave. The opponent's huge figure has sensitive movements. And the opponent still has a hostage in his hand. This made it impossible for the two of them to even attack. No way, the two had to go back to Xavier's school angrily. Charles, our mission has failed. Failed? Charles looked shocked. The strength of Storm and Cyclops is clear to him. Similarly, he is also very clear about Sabertooth's strength, fought against Magneto for decades after all. The people under their respective hands are relatively clear about each other. Against a Sabertooth, Charles is well prepared to have both Storm and Cyclops take the shot. But why did it fail in the end? Although it is true that only Sabertooth was dispatched by the opponent, Sabertooth's ability has undergone a great change. His size has become close to 3 meters, which has surpassed any previous time. Because of his larger size, his strength has also become terrifying. The two people who were attacked were directly grabbed by him one by one. You can look at the battle screen at that time. Storm reluctantly spoke, and he took the initiative to show Charles the memory of the battle at that time. Charles read the memory with a look of astonishment. What happened to Sabertooth? We seemed to hear Sabertooth say something as we rushed over. What names? Become a fruit ability. Fruit ability users, how did they get involved with the Devil Messenger? When Charles heard the fruit ability, he immediately thought of the Devil Messenger. As a mutant capable of reading the minds of others, he knows a lot of things that others don't. Fruit ability, Devil Messenger, he knows everything. He even knew that Frank was considered a mutant. For someone who found an excuse to start cleaning up mutant, he also prepared accordingly. As long as you keep an eye on Magneto, the mutant brotherhood don't make trouble. This time, the war between humans and mutants will come to an end. Tony Stark wouldn't let his reputation be exploited. That's why he found out that Sabertooth was leaving the first time and asked Storm and Cyclops to stop him. But it never occurred to him that the fruit ability and Magneto were getting together. This time, things that were originally simple became difficult in an instant. I'm going to see what they're doing. Charles steered the wheelchair towards the brain wave strengthening device. Cyclops and Storm followed behind him. Putting on the helmet, Charles began to look for Sabertooth among the endless mutants. For a moment, the image of Sabertooth appeared in his mind. Sabertooth at the moment has Wolverine and Rascal imprisoned. He is quietly guarding Magneto. Suddenly, his mental power was directly taken over by Charles. Charles saw the situation through Sabertooth's eyes. This is an old court of Magneto, on an isolated island by the sea. At the moment, Magneto was chatting with an Oriental guy. You should be the Devil Messenger. I didn't expect to see you this time. Charles guessed Qin Xiao's identity in his mind. Apart from Qin Xiao and Magneto, the rest were Frank and Toad. Qin Xiao, who was exchanging information with Magneto, was suddenly taken aback. Ding, it is detected that the causal fruit host has been invaded. Do you want to temporarily withdraw the fruit ability? The sound of the system rang directly in his ears. He looked at Sabertooth suddenly. Eric, Sabertooth is under control. As a devil fruit distributed by the system gave Qin Xiao an ability to counter all fruit abilities, temporarily withdraw the ability of the fruit ability. This is also the reason why Qin Xiao left that sentence after giving Jin the devil fruit. Don't deceive the devil too much, or he will take back your ability. This sentence is not a joke. Once gold and do something special. Qin Xiao can temporarily withdraw the ability of the bomb fruit directly. In other words, he can temporarily invalidate the opponent's fruit ability. Make the host who eats the fruit lose the fruit ability. This will also make Qin Xiao lose the corresponding fruit ability. However, it didn't matter to Qin Xiao. He has many fruit abilities. Losing one doesn't hurt. Similarly, this is also the reason why Qin Xiao keeps trying to spread the fruit ability. The more fruit ability a person has, the stronger his ability is. He doesn't care if he loses 1 or 2 abilities at some point. Qin Xiao didn't intend to use this ability at all, because once people know his ability will be deprived by himself, then it will be very difficult to promote devil fruit in the future. After all, no one wants the ability that they have worked so hard to develop, but it disappears in a blink of an eye, right? But today, this ability reminded me, Sabertooth is under control. Does the power of the devil fruit need to be taken back? Qin Xiao did not choose to withdraw his strength. Instead, remind Eric directly, just a Sabertooth, he can't turn any waves. Magneto was also taken aback when he heard Qin Xiao's words, but then he stretched out his hand directly to the side. A helmet came to his hand in an instant. Putting on his helmet, Magneto looked at Sabertooth. Charles, what do you want to do? As the old guy who fought Charles for decades, in an instant he knew who controlled Sabertooth. I also want to quietly observe Magneto and Charles, the devil messenger, but at the moment is also helpless. He didn't expect Qin Xiao to be so vigilant. As soon as one's own consciousness fell, the other party immediately noticed it. Perhaps this is the ability of the devil messenger. The strength of the devil messenger is really unpredictable. Sabertooth sighed. Hey Eric, what the hell are you taking Logan and the little rascal this time? They are all brothers of our mutant, don't do too much to them. Moreover, now our mutants are being blocked by humans. Now is not the time to make trouble. Sabertooth spoke didactically in a serious tone. Hearing what Charles said, Magneto looked disdainful. Charles, it is because of your thoughts that humans dare to attack us mutants so boldly. Just teach humans a small lesson and they'll be honest for a while. See for yourself, this time originally has nothing to do with us mutant. But human beings still looked for a reason to go to war against us regardless. In the recent period of time, you should know how many mutant brothers have been captured by humans, right? Magneto knows many things, all Mystique learned as a spy. He believed it and Charles knew it too. After all, Charles' mental ability is easier to know the secret. I know, but as long as we don't overdo it, humans will stop soon. Tony Stark has used his powers to put pressure on the attacking military. Within a few days they stop. If you do it now, the entire battle will expand. Do you really want to ruin this rare peaceful day for mutant? Charles still tried to persuade Eric. Peace, that's just a chance for humans to survive. You thought the students in your Xavier's school were safe. No, maybe it's just them using your powers to gather mutants. One day, they will directly harvest the mutant inside at one time. At that time, you are the sinner of mutant. Magneto is not easy to deal with. How could it be possible to be moved by Charles with just a few words? It's really that easy, and the two won't fall in love and kill each other for decades. Seeing that Charles couldn't convince Eric, he set his sights on Qin Xiao. Hello, demon messenger of the East. It's my first time meeting you. I'm sorry that I couldn't meet you face to face. I hope you can forgive me. Charles' tone was sincere. The famous Professor X is a little flattered to know my name. Qin Xiao replied in a neutral tone. I don't know why the devil messenger from the East is with Eric. Moreover, I heard from Storm that Sabertooth also mentioned the fruit ability. Could it be that the demons from the East are focusing on our mutants? This time, because of you, let us mutants suffer so much damage. Charles directly pointed out the problem. The devil from the East has taken a fancy to mutant. This time, all the questions came back to Qin Xiao. No, you should know in fact, we are also the victims of this incident. As for mutant being targeted, this is a problem left over from your own history. Not just now. Now it's just that someone caught an opportunity. Moreover, this opportunity was forcibly placed by others. In fact, our people have always emphasized that we are fruit ability, but some people pretended not to hear it. Qin Xiao didn't lie in the slightest and went straight back. These things were not caused by him deliberately. The whole thing is still based on what happened to mutant. This is a problem left over from history. Don't try to bullshit yourself. Charles was also helpless when he heard that. It seems that this Eastern demon messenger is not so easy to fool. So, you are with Eric now. Are you ready to stand with him? Are you ready for a real fight with humans? I completed a preliminary alliance with him. He provided me with information, and I provided him with devil fruits. If you can provide me the same value, I can also provide you with devil fruits. For me, it's all about the transaction. With the devil, what matters is the transaction. Qin Xiao directly explained all this. Demon, trade, this is the essence of the devil. If you pay, you will be rewarded. Hearing Qin Xiao's words, both Charles and Eric fell into deep thought. What would it take to take Rascal and Wolverine away from Eric's island? Charles actually asked a question that stunned everyone present. What does it take to get rid of Rascal and Wolverine? It has to be said that Charles has a high IQ. You just said that with the devil everything is a transaction. Then the transaction has a price. What would it cost to take Rascal and Wolverine? As long as Qin Xiao dares to answer, it is equivalent to betraying Magneto. In an instant, cracks would appear in the alliance between the two. Even if Charles can't pay the corresponding price for the time being. But Magneto will definitely have doubts about Qin Xiao. Charles' ability is too obscure. Think about it, maybe at some point Charles made a deal with Qin Xiao through the brain wave strengthening device. And all this Magneto will know nothing. Cracks just like that, Charles set up a divorce plan at random. With one word from Charles, Qin Xiao was once again placed on the cusp of the storm. It's just that Qin Xiao didn't care at all. Unfortunately, I do not accept your remote transaction. Qin Xiao replied to Charles directly with one sentence. Hearing Qin Xiao's words, Charles was not unhappy at all. Although I don't know what you will do, I will stop you. After Charles finished speaking, he directly cut off the connection with Sabertooth. Sabertooth finally reacted. It's just that he doesn't seem to know what's going on. Eric, did Charles know about your plan? Qin Xiao looked at Magneto calmly. No, he can't know. Sabertooth doesn't know all of my plans yet. The best Charles knows is that my target is a little rascal. Magneto dismissed the question. He knew Sabertooth their brains. Knowing that without a helmet, Charles can easily find himself through the brain wave strengthening device. So it is impossible for him to tell others about the plan. It doesn't matter anyway, you have your own plan for doing things. It's okay if you take the little rascal, but Wolverine is interesting. He stays, and I'll see if I can make a deal with him. Qin Xiao made his request to Magneto. He and Magneto have been discussing this issue just now. Magneto saw Qin Xiao's interest in Wolverine. It's the excitement of finding a devil fruit match. Magneto has no interest in Wolverine. The metal all over the opponent's body made him aware of the opponent's existence from a long distance away. Also, Magneto wants to know what kind of devil fruit Wolverine can get. The more people eat the devil fruit, the more problems he can see. This also allowed him to decide how to face Qin Xiao. As for Charles' provocation just now, he didn't care about it himself. Because he didn't trust Qin Xiao at all. The alliance of two people is just a transaction. No problem, this is a bonus in the deal, as long as you tell Sabertooth how to improve his fruit ability. Magneto directly agreed with Qin Xiao's words. Okay, next I'll meet Wolverine and see if I can make a deal with him. Best if it works, fine if you can't. Me and you talk others. Naturally, Magneto would not let go of this opportunity to witness the appearance of yet another devil fruit ability. Several people came to the place where Wolverine was being held. Qin Xiao knew Wolverine's character. When they don't know each other, they act like strangers should not enter. Once accepted by him, he can treat it wholeheartedly. Like the little rascal I just met. He was attacked by Sabertooth and has not yet come to his senses. Qin Xiao walked to Wolverine's side, his eyes were as expected. Ding, a devil fruit match has been detected. Matchable fruits. Shaking fruit, crushing fruit, dark fruit, fast-cutting fruit, melting fruit, hot fruit, Achino heats itself, boiling fruit, Owen makes the sea boil. In order to distinguish, the two fruits are briefly marked. Wolverine's devil fruit skins match a whopping 7. Even Qin Xiao doubted if Sabertooth hadn't chosen karma fruit. Wolverine was also able to match that fruit. That's why Qin Xiao wanted to make a deal with Wolverine. This guy, no matter what fruit he chooses, is good for Qin Xiao. Moreover, Qin Xiao wanted to obtain the self-healing ability from the other party again. What if you don't give the devil fruit to the other party? This time, even if I suffer a little from the transaction, I still have to do it. Qin Xiao has a general analysis of the few fruits matched by the system. The reason why the shaking fruit, the crushing fruit, the dark fruit, and the fast-cutting fruit should be matched is the same as Sabertooth. Self-healing and melee are the reason for these fruits. Only this time, Wolverine also has 3 temperature-related devil fruits. Qin Xiao looked at the 3 fruits and seemed to understand something. High heat. Sabertooth steel claws can withstand very high temperatures. Not even these 3 fruits could melt his bones. However, these high temperatures can heat his body. His sharp claws will have a strong high-temperature attribute at that time. If the original Sabertooth damage is only physical cutting damage, then with these 3 fruits, his power will become magic damage. Once the knife goes down, the entire incision is already cooked. It's like the situation in Wolverine 1 after the gagged Deadpool heated his claws. Such lethality would naturally make his metal skeleton even more terrifying. And with these 3 fruits, Wolverine herself can heat her own metal skeleton. Sabertooth, wake him up. Sabertooth, wake him up. Magneto looked calmly at the fainted Wolverine. Under his magnetic field induction, Wolverine is a big pile of metal. The easiest metal to control. It can be said bluntly that he can beat Wolverine. What he wants to do most now is to watch this guy who is not his own eat a devil fruit. He wants to see what this guy can become. Anyway, the opponent's metal body does not pose any threat to him. He couldn't wait and asked Sabertooth to wake him up. Sabertooth took some effort and finally woke Wolverine by force. Ah. Go to hell. Wolverine, who had just woken up, stretched out her claws instantly. One claw stabbed directly at Sabertooth. But at this moment he felt unable to move. Even his metal claws couldn't even be retracted. What's going on at this time? Unbelievable sounds came from Wolverine's mouth. You smell like metal all over your body. You are a target in my eyes. Sabertooth, stay away from him and leave the rest to the demon messenger. What? Magneto simply told Sabertooth to leave. At Magneto's words, Sabertooth fled away from where Wolverine was being held. If Wolverine's claws had really penetrated Sabertooth's body just now. Waiting for him will be the abuse of Sabertooth, who has grown bigger under the Karma Fruit ability. Magneto, at the moment, kind of saved Wolverine from suffering a little. He manipulated the metal and bound Wolverine directly. Then put it in front of Qin Xiao. Qin Xiao at the moment looked a little dazed. Because the moment Magneto controlled Wolverine, the voice of the system echoed in his head. Ding, it is detected that the Devil Fruit Matchmaker is restrained, and the Devil Fruit Matchmaking is adjusted. Matchable fruits, fast-cutting fruit, hot fruit, Achino heats itself, boiling fruit, Owen makes the sea boil, molten fruit, shaking fruit, tons of pressing fruit, dark fruit. In the system, among the devil fruits that match Wolverine, the quick-cut fruit is directly promoted to the first place. You know, this is the first time the system has made such an adjustment. Originally, because of self-healing ability, he could bear 3 fruits that would damage his body, but he was directly ranked last. Instead, the 3 fruits that can be heated are arranged behind the quick-cut fruit. Qin Xiao narrowed his eyes slightly. This matter is very interesting. Obviously, the system is not static when it comes to matching devil fruits. This means that even if a person was previously unmatched, after something happens, it is very possible to become a match. And even if it is a host that can match, it may change the matching devil fruit when something happens. Just at this moment, something happened. Magneto uses his powers to control Wolverine's body of metal. This immobilized Wolverine. Influenced by Magneto, the system directly changed the order of matching fruits. This means that the system believes that under such circumstances, the survival rate in Magneto's hands can be increased. But why? Then an immature idea appeared directly in Qin Xiao's mind. High-temperature degaussing. Those 3 fruits that can be heated should be representatives of high-temperature degaussing. However, this doesn't affect Magneto's control, does it? After all, even if it is demagnetized, it does not mean that there will be no magnetism forever. But apart from this reason, Qin Xiao really didn't understand why the system sorted them like this. However, these 3 fruits can barely explain themselves. But what the hell is the number 1 quick-cut fruit? After eating this fruit, any part of the fruit holder's body will turn into a cold weapon like a sword. But wouldn't that make Wolverine even more manipulated by Magneto? But then, an unbelievable idea appeared in his mind. The quick-cut fruit can turn the flesh into a metal sword. Likewise, it can turn metal into flesh. If Wolverine eats the quick-cut fruit, the adamantium in his body might turn into a normal bone directly. Only in this way can Wolverine be freed from Magneto's manipulation. Qin Xiao squatted down and looked at Wolverine, who fell to the ground. Whether this is the reason, let him eat the fruit to know. Who are you? What are you going to do? Wolverine has a very bad temper, and being caught this time made him even more angry. Looking at Qin Xiao, who was crouching down, he questioned him. Logan, do you remember your past? Qin Xiao ignored Wolverine's question. Instead, he asked a question that caught Wolverine aback. My past? Who are you? Do you know my past? This question hits directly at Wolverine's soft spot. He has been searching for his past for more than 10 years. Who is he? Who made him like this? What has happened to him in the past? I can help you find your past, but there are conditions. Conditions? You arrested me and now offer conditions. Wolverine obviously didn't believe Qin Xiao. It is very simple for him to think. You arrested me, what condition do you want? Catch you. You're just an extra, Eric's target isn't you. You are considered too important for yourself. If it weren't for your messing around to stop Sabertooth from catching the little rascal, did you think he would bring you here? Qin Xiao slapped back mercilessly. You. This sentence really blocked him. Little rascal was a woman he had just met. It's just a journey together. He didn't even know why the little rascal was caught. Add head. I actually became the head of Tim. Well, don't mess with your cynical mood. As I said just now, it can help you find your past. But if you don't want to, the metal cage here is just right for you to live in. Eric would definitely like to keep you. After all, you are mutant brothers. After Qin Xiao finished speaking, he stood up. Wolverine's devil fruit matching order has changed. Qin Xiao, the number 1 quick-cut fruit, was not very fond of it. This kind of fruit that turns the body into a cold weapon is not very powerful. But he didn't intend to go too far against the system's choice, recommending the shaking fruit he wanted to Wolverine. He was somewhat conflicted, so he didn't care if Wolverine was willing to cooperate. He originally thought that the Zhenjin fruit he wanted had met a suitable one. Even the adaptation of Wolverine and Zhenjin fruit was originally ranked first. But because of Magneto's relationship, it is now directly behind. Thinking about it makes my heart suffocate. What do you want me to promise you? Wolverine Logan felt Qin Xiao's momentary emotional change just now. He knew that if he really refused this time, I don't know how long I might be locked up here. This Magneto who can control himself is too restrained. Conditions, because I agreed to temporarily terminate Frank's employment. So he'll go about his own thing. I temporarily lack an apostle by my side, an apostle of a fruit ability user. You are my apostle while Frank is gone. During this time you need to obey my arrangements. Qin Xiao said his request. In fact, it was to find a reason to keep Wolverine by his side. Or find a reason to trade with Logan. Let the opponent eat the devil fruit, this is flickering. Obviously it was Qin Xiao who wanted to send out the devil fruit. But after his processing, it became someone else taking advantage of it. Moreover, this further confirms the characteristics of the devil. Trade, everything is a transaction. You want me to obey your arrangement completely, even if it's killing people. Wolverine raised his doubts. Hee Logan, do you really think you are a pure and good person? I don't know how much blood is stained on your sharp claws. How many people have you killed in the past 100 years may exceed your own imagination. Do you know that I have lived for more than 100 years? This time Logan was completely anxious. In the past 10 years he can't remember anything. I don't even know that I have lived for more than 100 years. The only clue on him is a name tag, but looking at this Oriental man, he seems to know everything. I am the messenger of the devil and I definitely know things that others don't. Now tell me your options. Qin Xiao didn't want to waste too much saliva with him. Achievement. If it doesn't work, forget it. You asked me to be your demon apostle, but I'm not a fruit ability user at all. It's not that I don't agree, it's because I'm not a fruit ability user. Logan relented. It's just a devil fruit. There were ripples in Qin Xiao's body. Immediately afterwards, the 7 fruits appeared in front of everyone. 7. Frank and Sabertooth made incredible noises. The 6 of Sabertooth they thought were special. Unexpectedly, there were more Wolverine caught by Sabertooth than the opponent in a blink of an eye. This shows that Wolverine is more suitable for devil fruit. Here are 7 devil fruits. Quick cut fruit, hot fruit, Achino heats itself, boiling fruit, Owen makes the sea boil, molten fruit, shaking fruit, tons of pressed fruit, dark fruit. This is a devil fruit that matches your mutant ability. Now you can choose one of them and eat it. At that time, you will be able to become a fruit ability user. Qin Xiao introduced the fruits one by one. Wolverine glanced at the 7 fruits. He looked at the body bound by metal, and a flash of inspiration flashed in his mind. Can these fruits free me from Magneto's restraint? Get rid of Magneto's restraint. Wolverine Logan asked the question that concerned him most. His own super ability was strictly restrained by a single person. This was something he couldn't bear no matter what. Moreover, he still had a difficult problem for this Eastern demon messenger in his heart. Free yourself from Magneto's grip. If you can't even do this, then your Oriental demon ability is too bad. Qin Xiao didn't know Wolverine's inner drama. However, the other party's question seemed to directly hit the muzzle of the gun. If you want to get rid of Magneto's control, then I recommend this fruit. Qin Xiao placed a fruit in front of Wolverine. Cut the fruit quickly. Magneto looked puzzled. Can this fruit make this guy covered in metal bumps out of his control? He knows the ability of this fruit. In Qin Xiao's introduction, this fruit can make the eater's body change into cold weapons such as swords. But if it really becomes a cold weapon such as a sword, it will be more convenient for oneself to control. Why did Qin Xiao recommend this fruit to Wolverine? Is he trying to screw Wolverine? He wanted Wolverine to be more under his control. A conspiracy smacks of thought in Magneto's mind. Eric, please loosen the metal binding him. Magneto heard Qin Xiao's words and immediately removed all the bound metal. Unrestrained Wolverine stood up. He looked at the devil fruit in Qin Xiao's hand with an unhappy expression, brightly colored and oddly shaped. Is this thing the masterpiece of the Oriental devil? He directly grabbed the quick-cut fruit and bit it down. Crack tilde tilde. Woo tilde tilde tilde. The unpalatable taste after the mouth made Wolverine almost spit out the fruit. But with all his strength, he still swallowed the fruit. You didn't tell me that this fruit is so unpalatable. Wolverine complained a little. No way, after all, this is the devil's taste. Qin Xiao spoke nonsense, but all of them believed it. Demons have different tastes than humans. It's very scientific. After eating the devil fruit, a sense of enlightenment appeared in his mind. He holds out his hand. Chinese letter tilde tilde tilde. Ding tilde tilde tilde. Between the fingers, 3 adamantium claws popped out instantly. But then a metal blade appeared on his arm. Blade, every part of his body can protrude from the blade. He tried to cut with the 3 sharp claws of his right hand towards the sharp blade on his left arm. Ding tilde tilde. Where the blades meet, sparks fly. All the blades that appear in my body are adamantium. Wolverine spoke in disbelief. adamantium, all his bones are adamantium, and only he himself knows the power of this metal. So far, there's nothing his claws can't break. Even the high temperature had no effect on his metal skeleton. However, now after eating this devil fruit, let his body change into a sharp blade at any part. These sharp blades are all adamantium. Think about it if you fight with people in the future. Anyone who dares to fight melee will face an adamantium monster. Head, hands, chest, back, legs. As long as you can see it, a sharp blade may appear. Even the other person might act like a quill. Who can stand this? But then he sensed a problem. Such a self will be restrained even more by Magneto. If I am like this now, won't I be restrained by Magneto? Wolverine accused Qin Xiao angrily. He felt that he was cheated. And Magneto, the corners of his mouth go up wildly. Sure enough, Qin Xiao did it on purpose. Now in Magneto's mind, Wolverine is an even bigger lump of iron. No matter how tough you are still a lump of iron. As long as it is an iron lump, it must be controlled by him. Qin Xiao ignored Wolverine for the time being. When he heard Wolverine say that the sharp blades that appeared in the body were all adamantium, he himself felt unbelievable. This devil fruit still picks metal. He also thought that the sharp blades that Wolverine ate after eating the devil fruit were ordinary metals, just like in Pirates. You know, the quick-cut fruit in the Pirates was defeated by Sauron after he realized how to cut iron. But now in adamantium bump, cut iron, cutting stainless steel is useless. This thing, the upgrade is too much, right? Still sighing inwardly, he heard Wolverine's questioning. He let out a long sigh. Your body can be turned into a sharp blade. Why don't you try to use it in reverse and turn the sharp blade into a flesh body? Reverse use, turn the blade into flesh. Wolverine was taken aback. This method seems worth a try. He began to try what Qin Xiao called reverse utilization. First, these adamantium blades conjured up or fleshed out. Immediately afterwards, he used the power of the fruit to act on his own bones. This is a different feeling. If it is said that turning the flesh into a sharp blade is a kind of hardening, then turning metal bones into normal bones is a kind of softening. When the power of the fruit acts on his metal skeleton, Wolverine has a special feeling. I have become vulnerable. Unexpectedly, it really works. Wolverine looked at her 3 bone claws in shock. At the moment, he felt that all the metal skeletons in his body had turned into normal bones. Devil fruit is so magical. Wolverine from at the moment felt a long-lost relief. The original him, a metal skeleton, this makes his weight extraordinarily alarming. Compared with normal people, it is nearly 100 caddies heavier. It takes a lot of strength for his muscles to drive this huge weight. Now he's lighter, the speed suddenly became a little scary. Amidst the shock, he was also slightly surprised. Sabertooth, fight me again. This time, Wolverine offered to fight. After he finished speaking, his whole body turned into a super quill composed of adamantium again. Talon, arm blade, elbow stab, saber spine. There is no place in his body that is not an adamantium blade. Even his whole body seemed to be shining with alloy luster. At the moment, his body became extremely heavy. An adamantium lump rushed towards Sabertooth. Seeing this, Sabertooth wasn't afraid at all. He hit it. He growled wildly and rushed towards Wolverine as well. Psst tilde tilde. Psst tilde tilde. Ding tilde tilde tilde. Ding tilde tilde.
Hello, everyone. As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500+ novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.